My sister is 15 years older than me, and she spoils me too much. After 8 years of dating, she was cheated on. She became a saint after enlightenment in a bar. The brainless ex is just a passing cloud, and the red card wife is the destiny. When I was young, I didn't know how good my sister was. I mistakenly regarded youth as a treasure. Beiwang, after 8 years of dating, are you willing to leave me? I am willing. If you must ask me why. I'm sorry, my wife is prettier than you, has a better figure than you, is richer than you, and is more sensible than you. She crushes you in all aspects. Why should I choose you again? Chapter 1, Need More Money. In Longju, at the Qingbei Matchmaking Corner. Did you forget to take your medicine before you left home? A young woman in her 20s furrowed her brow as she scolded the handsome young man in front of her. You earn 5,000 a month and you're looking for a girlfriend who earns 10,000 a month. Facing her accusations, the handsome young man smiled playfully. Do you think that someone who earns 10,000 a month isn't worthy of me? How thick-skinned can you be? The girl was so angry her face turned red. The commotion quickly attracted a crowd of onlookers, all of them focused on the small blackboard in front of the young man. Chen Beiwang, 25 years old, a college graduate, earning 5,000 a month, but only accepts a matchmaking partner who earns 10,000 or more. He is willing to marry into the woman's family as a live-in son-in-law, but expects a dowry of 300,000, and for the children to take the woman's surname. If there are no children, even better. He is healthy, disease-free, can manage both the kitchen and the boardroom, and is ready to be a new groom. Upon seeing the contents on the blackboard, several other girls immediately joined in criticizing him. A man asking for a dowry. 300,000. Since when is that not shameless? Chen Beiwang remained unfazed, pointing at the small blackboard in front of him. Look carefully, young lady, I'm marrying into the woman's family, so why shouldn't I ask for a dowry? Dowries are given by the man to the woman, okay? There has never been a man asking for a dowry like this. It's fine, from today onwards, I'm doing it my way, he replied coolly. The girls continued to fire questions at him. You earn only 5,000 a month. How can you ask for a partner who earns 10,000? Don't you think that's selfish? Why can you girls look for a partner earning 30,000 with just 3,000 a month, but I can't look for someone who earns 10,000 with my 5,000? Chen Beiwang retorted smoothly. The girls grew even more upset. I earn 10,000 a month. I earn more than you. Why should I date you? Then why would a man with a higher salary date someone like you with a low income? Chen Beiwang responded with a knockout line. One sentence left the girls speechless, as they glared at him with flushed faces. We women ask for a dowry because we leave our parents to marry into the man's family, and bear children for them. We make a big sacrifice, okay. Chen Beiwang was even more energized by this comment. Right, so when I marry into the woman's family and leave my parents, doesn't that count as a sacrifice? But the woman is the one who has to give birth. And who is going to make the baby without a man? Chen Beiwang shot back, pointing at the small blackboard again. Besides, I said, if we have children, they'll take the woman's surname and carry on her family line. If not, I don't mind. Also, regarding dowries, since I'm marrying into her family, taking care of her parents, doing housework, and making sacrifices, what if she kicks me out after just a couple of years? Without a dowry, I'll have nothing. The girls blushed even more, but the men around them seemed to have discovered a whole new world. This guy is living life clearly, truly a man of principle. Entering the game as a son-in-law, that is better than being a king. That is so touching. We've all been suffering, but this guy is standing up for himself. Damn it, we were too busy smoking and forgot to give these girls a lesson. Although, this guy's requirements might make it hard to find a match. That's shallow. He is not even looking for someone his age. Didn't he, you see? He is marrying into the woman's family. I bet he is aiming for a wealthy, older woman. Older women are great, they have experience. What are you saying? Older women. I prefer to call them mature and understanding sisters. While the girls were fuming, the men were discussing with enthusiasm, gathering in groups and chatting excitedly. This was a free matchmaking event, and everyone could set their own criteria, so no one could stop anyone else. Was Chen Beiwang's matchmaking request serious? Of course not. He had just come out of a frustrating, green relationship. His girlfriend of 8 years, Laura, had run off with a 200-pound fat man, and he was wallowing in self-pity. Why? Because Chen Beiwang was just a poor guy living in Beijing without a stable home or wealthy family, and the only thing he had going for him was his looks, but even that wasn't top tier. That fat guy? He drove a Maybach, lived in a luxury villa in the fourth ring, and frequented high-end places. Even his little gifts were worth half of Chen Beiwang's monthly salary. How could he compare? After a drunken night, Chen Beiwang had an epiphany. He realized that if women like older, wealthy men, then why couldn't he do the same with older, wealthy women? Getting cheated on wasn't embarrassing, it was failing to move on that was. And so, here he was, at the matchmaking corner, debating with a crowd of girls, each of whom left embarrassed after trying to argue with him, just as his father had always said, fight fire with fire. Seeing that no one else was coming to challenge him, Chen Beiwang smiled and prepared to leave with his blackboard. At that moment, a figure blocked his way. Looking up, he froze. A wealthy woman, about the same age as his mother, was eyeing him. Judging by her attire and aura, she was clearly rich. Although she was older and not particularly good-looking, the saying goes, one rich woman is worth 1,000 poor ones. Young man, are you here for matchmaking? She asked. Yes. Auntie. Chen Beiwang stared at the woman with a strange expression, deliberately emphasizing the word auntie to remind her of their age difference. He definitely wasn't planning to find a girlfriend the same age as his mother. Can you do me a favor? Seeing the warm expression on her face, Chen Beiwang couldn't help but shudder. Auntie, I do artistic performances, not other things. This kid, talking nonsense. The middle-aged woman rolled her eyes and snapped back. I just need you to accompany my friend on a matchmaking date. I'll pay whatever you want. Acting? Chen Beiwang sighed in relief, then looked her up and down. She was the same age as his mom, so her friend must be nearly 50, right? Although it seemed a bit funny. Money doesn't fall from the sky. 1,000 yuan, I'll go with you right now. The woman smiled as soon as she saw him extend his finger. Deal. Inside a luxurious Bentley, Chen Beiwang sat stiffly, not daring to move. He had never been in such a lavish car before, and felt a bit out of place. Auntie, where are we going? We're going to a Western restaurant. My friend is having dinner with her young boyfriend. Young boyfriend. Chen Beiwang felt his rear end burn, almost hitting his head on the car roof. Auntie, are you kidding me? Your friend already has a boyfriend, and I'm still here for matchmaking. The middle-aged woman looked at him with a puzzled or perhaps embarrassed expression. I asked you to come to mess things up between them. Chen Beiwang stared in disbelief. This wasn't at all what he had expected. From acting on a matchmaking date to breaking up a couple, these were two completely different things. With a sigh, he turned to the woman. Auntie, this favor seems a bit tough. But if you really want me to do it, I'll do it. Then you'll need more money. Chapter 2, The Backview Killer. Adding money is fine. Upon hearing this, the middle-aged woman opened her purse and pulled out a stack of red bills. Without counting, she threw them directly into Chen Beiwang's arms. This has to be over 10,000, right? Chen Beiwang stood there, stunned, staring at the pile of cash in his arms. His mind went blank. Do wealthy people always act this generously? Is it enough? The woman's voice pulled Chen Beiwang back to reality, and he quickly nodded. Yes, it's enough. This amount was more than 2 months of his salary. With your generosity, I'll definitely make sure to ruin your friend's romance. It may have sounded crude, but the middle-aged woman nodded, her eyes filled with a smile. Auntie, I'm still curious, aren't you and she supposed to be best friends? Could it be one of those so-called frenemies? Frenemies? The woman was clearly caught off guard. At her age, she wasn't quite familiar with popular slang used by young people. I've known her since we were kids, over 40 years now. I can tell that the young man is after her money, but she is too deep in love to listen to others. So, I had no choice but to resort to this method. Chen Beiwang suddenly understood. There really are people who are willing to sell their souls and bodies for a better material life. He didn't look down on it, in fact, he admired it. If the situation were reversed, he certainly wouldn't have the guts to do such a thing. All right, leave it to me. I'll make sure it's done perfectly. Soon, the Bentley came to a slow stop. Inside the car, Chen Beiwang looked out the window and saw a high-end Western restaurant. Following the direction the rich lady pointed, he quickly locked onto a man and woman sitting by the window. Due to the angle, he could only see the woman's back, her white dress, black, straight long hair, giving her the air of a stunning beauty. However, Chen Beiwang knew that no matter how well this middle-aged lady kept herself, she couldn't compare to a young woman in her 20s. This woman was most likely a back-view killer. But the young man sitting opposite her was easy to spot. Not bad looking at all, with fair skin, a well-toned figure, and an expensive sense of style. However, his expression had a kind of sneaky, untrustworthy vibe that made Chen Beiwang uncomfortable. The woman was right. This guy's face lacked any sign of love, his focus was entirely on material gain. It's them. The middle-aged woman sighed and turned to Chen Beiwang. Young man, it's all up to you now. Chen Beiwang grinned. Watch me work my magic. Although he had failed in the romance department due to his lack of wealth, besides being poor, Chen Beiwang had a lot of redeeming qualities. In terms of looks, he was your classic northern Chinese boy, sunny, bright, with a smile that was sure to melt anyone's heart. Not that he would crush the young man sitting at the table, but at least he was 3 levels above him. In terms of physique, he stood tall at 185 centimeters 6 feet 1 inch and weighed 75 kilograms 165 pounds, with a lean and muscular build. He could look great in a suit and even better without one. He was witty, humorous, and charming. It was no surprise that he had once won the affection of his ex-girlfriend, who was a campus beauty. Now, after his enlightenment in the bar, he felt like this was child's play. At that moment, the middle-aged woman's old friend stood up to head to the bathroom. Chen Beiwang immediately saw his chance and got out of the car. He walked straight into the Western restaurant, and in the shocked gaze of the lady in the car, he confidently approached the couple's table. This sudden move left the young man speechless. The young man immediately furrowed his brows and, with a somewhat annoyed tone, asked, "Who are you?" "Me?" Chen Beiwang flashed a harmless smile. "Your competitor." The young man was taken aback. "What competitor?" "I like the woman sitting across from you. I'm here to take her away from you." Chen Beiwang's words were blunt and aggressive, and as soon as the young man heard them, his face turned black. "You're a bastard. She's my girlfriend, do you know that? They are just a couple, not married." "We can still compete fairly," Chen Beiwang replied, continuing to pour oil on the fire with his usual reckless attitude. Bang! Hearing this, the young man couldn't hold back any longer. He slammed the table and was about to lash out, but at that moment, a gentle, slightly cold voice interrupted him. "Xiaoming, is this guy your friend?" Chen Beiwang turned toward the voice and froze in place. Walking towards him was the woman in the white dress and black hair, with a simple yet stunning makeup look and a tall, elegant figure. What shocked him most was her nearly perfect face. Time seemed to have left no trace on her. Even with light makeup, she was still a stunning beauty that made Chen Beiwang's heart skip a beat. Before seeing her in person, he had imagined that she would look average at best, or maybe slightly unattractive. After all, rich people often get plastic surgery, so she couldn't be that bad. But the woman standing before him was nowhere near bad. He could hardly believe it, but the rich lady's best friend looked even more stunning than he had imagined. She didn't look like someone nearing 50, she looked more like someone in her early 30s. At the same time, the young man, about to blow up, saw the woman return and immediately reined in his anger. He straightened up, trying to maintain a polite and dignified demeanor. "Baby, this guy says he likes you and wants to compete with me for you." "What the hell?" Chen Beiwang froze upon hearing the term, baby. His whole body went rigid. "You really dare to say that, huh?" The beautiful woman frowned slightly at the mention of baby, then glanced at Chen Beiwang, her tone cold as she said, "Sorry, sir, I don't know you, and I'm not interested in getting to know you." Though the man who just appeared seemed more handsome than her current partner. "How long have you known him?" Just as the woman thought that Chen Beiwang would leave, he suddenly asked coldly. "For months." The woman thought for a moment and answered. "4 months? So, may I ask how much you've spent on him?" At this, the woman raised her eyebrows. "Around 4 million. But that was all my choice." Chen Beiwang cursed inwardly. So this was what it meant to date a rich woman. It's definitely appealing. That's an average of 1 million a month. Chen Beiwang grinned. "Sister, why not choose me instead? I'm better looking, taller, better at talking, and I have more stamina. I only need 100,000 a month, and I'll make sure to give you both physical and emotional satisfaction. This declaration instantly turned the young man pale. However, before he could react, a calm, decisive voice came from the woman's side. Okay, I agree. Before either Chen Beiwang or the young man could react, the woman looked at the young man, her expression indifferent and cold. Xiaoming, we're breaking up. Chen Beiwang was completely stunned. He hadn't even had the chance to make his move, and yet the woman agreed so readily. He couldn't help but feel like he had walked straight into a trap. Chapter 3, How did we end up at the Civil Affairs Bureau? At this moment, their little white face stared blankly at the woman, his face filled with disbelief. Baby, you. Don't call me that, the woman frowned, and in her eyes, Chen Beiwen could see a strong sense of disgust as if she had always hated that term. As soon as she finished speaking, the woman walked directly toward Chen Beiwang. To his shock, she grabbed his hand and began walking toward the exit of the Western restaurant. Seeing this, the little white face immediately panicked. Xu Yixue. How dare you play with my feelings? You can't leave. Xu Yixue? Chen Beiwen mulled over the name, it indeed had the feel of a big sister. Play with your feelings. The woman gave a cold, mocking smile and spoke again. Do you dare say that you're with me, not for my money? The little white face seemed momentarily speechless, but immediately put on a serious expression and said, I really like you. Har. However, in the face of such seemingly sincere words, Xu Yixue just shook her head. She wasn't a young girl in her 20s, and she could easily tell when someone was faking affection. Meanwhile, Chen Beiwen was quietly thinking to himself, agreeing with the little white face's display of true feelings. If it were some rich older woman, this guy might really be selling his body and soul for money. But Xu Yixue was different. She was too beautiful enough that she didn't look like a woman in her late 30s. Instead, she looked like a graceful, gentle older sister, the kind everyone would easily fall for. Think about it. She was rich, beautiful, cultured, and sophisticated, mature, intellectual, and kind. When someone checks all these boxes, they become an irresistible catch. In the end, the poor little Xiao Ming was unable to stop Xu Yixue, who led Chen Beiwang out of the Western restaurant. As they walked out, Chen Beiwang finally snapped back to reality and quickly said, Our sister. Facing such a beauty, he simply couldn't bring himself to call her auntie. Where are you taking me? To the Civil Affairs Bureau. Xu Yixue got into the red Ferrari, and if it weren't for roughly guessing her age, Chen Beiwen could never have imagined this older sister had such a wild side. What kind of person in their late 30s uses a supercar as their everyday vehicle? Does she not feel tired? But that was just a brief thought. As Chen Beiwen replayed Xu Yixue's words about the destination, his entire body went numb. He sat in the passenger seat, one hand gripping the seatbelt, the other grasping the door handle. Turning to Xu Yixue, who was speeding down the road, he awkwardly smiled and asked, Sister, what are we going to the Civil Affairs Bureau for? Xu Yixue raised her delicate brows slightly and answered coldly, The only reason people go there is to either get married or divorced, right? I promised you the deal earlier, 100,000 a month. First, let us get the marriage certificate. Her words were decisive, with a hint of urgency, as if she was desperate to get married. Chen Beiwen was taken aback but remained calm, quietly analyzing the situation. If he really married this older sister, not only would he be getting 100,000 a month, but just considering her looks, figure, and aura, he seemed to have struck gold. Was it a win-win situation for him? Moreover, 100,000 a month. His current job, if he worked like a dog, he would barely make 60,000 a year. The difference was clear. As someone who had struggled and experienced poverty while living in Beijing, Chen Beiwen couldn't help but suppress his initial instinct to refuse, burying it deep inside without mentioning it. Before long, they arrived at the Civil Affairs Bureau. The red Ferrari was striking, and Xu Yixue's beauty only attracted more attention. The onlookers couldn't help but focus their gazes on Chen Beiwang. It was obvious to everyone that Xu Yixue was beautiful, but she was also much older than Chen Beiwang. Coupled with the expensive Ferrari. Wow, this guy really landed himself a rich woman. Among the crowd, some people sighed, while others were jealous. Although the process of getting married was a bit of a hassle, it didn't take too much time. When Chen Beiwang walked out of the Civil Affairs Bureau holding a red booklet, he was filled with mixed emotions. As he turned to look at his new wife, he felt a strange emotion stir within him. How had a poor guy who had just experienced being cheated on by his ex turned into a married man so quickly? Wait a minute. He suddenly realized, wasn't this just a play? Wasn't he supposed to break up the couple? Why did he end up married? Moreover, she only spent a little over 10,000 yuan. What about the 300,000 yuan bride price for his own sham marriage? And that 10,000 yuan was still in that auntie's car. So, he had performed this whole act for nothing. Not only did he not get the money, but he ended up getting stuck in this situation. Thinking about it, Chen Beiwang's heart twisted in pain. Sis. Wife. Chen Beiwang looked at Xu Yixue, wanting to ask what exactly was going on, but when he opened his mouth, he couldn't bring himself to call her any of those names. Although she was old enough to be his aunt, she didn't have the typical signs of age. Calling her sister felt awkward now that they were married. As for wife or Mrs., they had just gotten the certificate, so he couldn't quite bring himself to adopt that identity. Seeing Chen Beiwang's awkward and embarrassed expression, Xu Yixue smiled faintly, but soon her expression returned to its usual cold indifference. Let us go. Where to? Chen Beiwang asked in return. Xu Yixue didn't answer. Instead, she firmly dragged him to the car, and the Ferrari roared off. 30 minutes later, it pulled into a luxurious villa community, finally stopping in front of a 2-story villa with a yard. Xu Yixue led Chen Beiwang into the villa. It wasn't large, but it was exquisitely designed. The light, luxurious decor revealed a tastefully understated elegance, making Chen Beiwang's eyes wander in every direction. You'll live here from now on. Xu Yixue sat down on the sofa and spoke lightly. If you own a place in Longju, sell it. If it's rented, just cancel it. Chen Beiwang didn't respond immediately. He glanced around and noticed something, looking at Xu Yixue with a puzzled expression. This place doesn't seem to have been lived in before. Don't you live here? I have a home. The simple 3 words made Chen Beiwang's hair stand on end. Don't tell me you already have a family. But then he quickly realized, wait, if you had a family, you couldn't have gotten the marriage certificate. But somehow, he felt like he was being kept as a secret lover in a golden cage. Idiot. Chen Beiwang cursed himself silently. He hadn't even received the money yet, and now he was already married. What if she backed out on him? Thinking of this, he instinctively looked at Xu Yixue. She seemed to know exactly what he was thinking and, without a word, pulled a bank card from her bag and tossed it to him. There's 100,000 yuan in this card. Every month, on the 1st, I'll deposit another 100,000 yuan. Since I promised you, I'll keep my word. Chapter 4, touch the hand first, then the elbow, and move up along the arm. Chen Beiwang held the bank card in his hand with a happy expression. 100,000 yuan is in his hand right now. This marriage is not in vain. You can think of our marriage as a contract. Xu Yixue's words attracted Chen Beiwang's attention again. They are just a fake couple, right? Chen Beiwang guessed that Xu Yixue was like this probably to deal with the elders at home, but unexpectedly the latter shook her head. They've even got their marriage certificate, how could they be a fake couple? But you also have to understand that we are not familiar with each other, let alone have any feelings. I am old, and it would be unreasonable for me not to find a man to marry. But whether we can go on smoothly depends on whether we are compatible with each other. Chen Beiwang nodded in agreement. Although he was not yet used to his new identity as a married man, he was still easy to talk to for the sake of 100,000 yuan. I don't live here, but now that we're married, I'll come over occasionally. When she said this, Xu Yixue's cheeks became noticeably redder. Chen Beiwang just laughed dryly when he saw this, feeling an awkward feeling in his heart as if he wanted to be impulsive but didn't want to. Impulsive, because she is so beautiful. I don't want to be impulsive because of the age gap. The marriage certificate can indicate Xu Yixue's date of birth. She is exactly 40 years old this year, and 15 years older than Chen Beiwang. Although I'm not approaching 50, I'm also over 40, right? Soon, Chen Beiwang remembered something and asked, by the way, if you are in such a hurry to get married, why don't you marry that pretty boy? Xu Yixue calmly shook her head upon hearing this. He only has carnal impulses and the magic of money towards me. He just wants to maintain a romantic relationship. Chen Beiwang suddenly realized, and his feelings towards the pretty boy dropped several levels. To put it bluntly, I play with your body and spend your money, but I won't marry you. After we break up, I will get all the benefits and I will definitely not lose a cent. That boy is quite smart. Chen Beiwang shook his head and laughed. The pretty boy looked younger than himself, probably only about 21 or 22 years old, yet he had such good luck and independent ideas. I am lucky to have met a rich and beautiful woman like Xu Yixue. His opinion is that he completely shows the attitude of an egoist. Thanks for reminding me. At this time, Xu Yixue suddenly said, it's far less cost-effective to not get married with more than 1 million a month than to get married with 100,000 a month. After hearing this, Chen Beiwang's face immediately turned green. So he was treating his buddy like a cheap commodity. I should have raised the price earlier. Chen Beiwang felt regretful, but the die was cast and he could not carve anything more. Let's see if we can earn more in return for our hard work in our future marriage. The two chatted for a while to get a general understanding of each other, and then Xu Yixue stood up and prepared to leave. Chen Beiwang, adhering to the principle of being a good husband, accompanied her to the gate of the courtyard. By the way, you take the car keys. Xu Yixue, who was about to leave, stopped, took out a pair of car keys from her bag and handed them to Chen Beiwang. The latter looked at Yamar and was stunned. Aston Martin. My seventh uncle. This is a far suburb, some distance from the city, and it's convenient for you to drive back and forth. Xu Yixue raised her hand and pointed to the garage with rolling shutter doors next to the two-story building. The car is right there. After saying that, she got into the car and left without stopping, leaving Chen Beiwang petrified in the wind. Little did she know that when Xu Yixue got in the car, her heart was beating wildly. She was not nervous about getting along with Chen Beiwang, but was afraid that something might go wrong. Fortunately, he is not such an irresponsible person. Chen Beiwang had no idea what Xu Yixue was thinking. He watched the Ferrari go away and immediately rushed to the garage door impatiently and raised the rolling door with the Villa remote control key in his hand. At the door, a dark silver convertible supercar full of luxury and beauty came into Chen Beiwang's sight. Fuck. DBS. Chen Beiwang's voice became sharp. It was no wonder that he lost his composure. Which man didn't have a dream of running a supercar? A big toy worth nearly 5 million yuan landed on the ground. In the past, Chen Beiwang would not dare to even think about it, but now it was quietly dormant in front of him, and the key to start this big toy was in his hand. While Chen Beiwang was excited, he was also secretly calculating. An Aston Martin DBS with a floor price of nearly 5 million, a two-story villa with a market price of at least 8 or 9 million, plus 100,000 yuan of pocket money every month. Is this what life is all about? Why do I feel like the first 25 years of my life were wasted? The villa is okay, it's just a place to live. Give him a bed and Chen Beiwang can sleep soundly. But he loves this car so much. At that moment, Chen Beiwang couldn't wait to start the car and slowly drove away from the villa. He drove very carefully because he had never driven such an expensive car before. After all, his inner inferiority and nervousness would take time to fade away. Anyway, he had nothing to do, so he decided to go for a drive to get a feel for the car, and also to hang around the area to get familiar with the new environment. Although the villa area is located in the suburbs, it is obviously a large residential area, so there is a large and well-organized market and large supermarket, making life quite convenient. Until the evening, Chen Beiwang spent the whole time in satisfaction and happiness. Who could have thought that the poor boy who was drinking in the bar last night, penniless and cheated, would suddenly live in a villa, drive a supercar, and earn $100,000 a month? He is just an ordinary man, and the qualitative change in his life makes it difficult for him to hide his excitement. In the evening, Chen Beiwang bought some fresh vegetables and meat at the market to celebrate his new life. Although he still found it difficult to accept the sudden change of identity at noon, when good things came, there was nothing difficult to accept. Just when he had prepared the delicious meal and brought it to the table, the door was suddenly pushed open and Xu Yixue walked in slightly staggering, her face flushed and it was obvious that she had been drinking. But she was obviously still conscious. Seeing Chen Beiwang, wearing an apron and staring at her blankly, she couldn't help but smile. You can also cook. As she spoke, Xu Yixue staggered to the sofa and lay down. Chen Beiwang frowned slightly when he saw this. He actually didn't like women getting drunk, but when he thought about his current status, he immediately poured a cup of hot water and walked over. Have a glass of water first. My hand hurts. However, Xu Yixue closed her eyes and mumbled. Chen Beiwang then noticed that her wrist was a little red and swollen, apparently caused by falling while drunk. He immediately took out the topical ointment from the medicine box and gently applied it. "There's nothing I can do about it. After all, I'm your legal husband." Xu Yishui's skin was very tender, which was totally different from the skin of a 40-year-old woman. Her hands were cold and boneless, and Chen Beiwang couldn't let go of them for a moment. "My arm hurts." At this time, Xu Yishui spoke again, and Chen Beiwang had to massage her arms. This scene made Chen Beiwang feel emotional. "Touch your hand first, then your elbow, and move up along the arm." Chapter 5. Big Head Li Chunshen. Even though Chen Beiwang had some wild thoughts in his mind, his actions were still very proper. Because he knew very well that the marriage certificate could not protect him. Whenever he was horny and wanted to do something beastly, he would have to operate the sewing machine without saying a word. After the massage, Chen Beiwang realized that it was not a good idea to let Xu Yishui sleep on the sofa. The weather was getting colder and colder, and it was not time for heating yet. It would really make people sick. He immediately pushed Xu Yishui gently. "Hey, wake up." He still couldn't get used to the name. Unexpectedly, Xu Yishui suddenly frowned and asked in a vague and coquettish voice, "Why don't you call me wife?" Well, Chen Beiwang was immediately embarrassed when he saw this, but he quickly prepared himself mentally. It was just one step away from success. Since Xu Yishui had taken the initiative, there was nothing to worry about. Chen Beiwang took a deep breath, and boldly hugged Xu Yishui to make her sit up straight. Then his voice sounded softly and with a hint of awkwardness. "Wife, it's easy to catch a cold sleeping here, how about going to the bedroom upstairs to sleep?" He is 25 and she is 40, but now her tone seems to be coaxing a child. However, Xu Yishui did not respond. She seemed to be asleep and kept humming, or maybe she was very satisfied with the title of wife. Chen Beiwang was extremely helpless. He took a deep breath and picked him up by the waist. Xu Yishui has a great figure, with curves where they should be and curves where they should be. She weighs only about 100 kilograms, and with her 1.7 meter height, the flesh on her body is firmly in the right places. There are 2 bedrooms and a study on the second floor. Chen Beiwang naturally went to the master bedroom with Xu Yishui in his arms, then put her on the bed and considerately took off her high heels. Of course, Chen Beiwang's actions stopped here. Although he really wanted to help her take off her skirt, that was obviously not a good idea. Just when Chen Beiwang breathed a sigh of relief and was about to leave, Xu Yishui suddenly grabbed his wrist. "Don't go, I feel uncomfortable." "Who told you to drink this old wine?" Chen Beiwang glared at him, showing no sign of leniency at all. "Just get some sleep." After saying that, Chen Beiwang turned around and left resolutely. "Damn, I haven't eaten since noon. I'm almost starving to death. How dare you not let me eat?" At this moment, Chen Beiwang fully demonstrated what a steely straight man is. Of course, he did this mainly because he was afraid that something unexpected would happen during the intense heat of the moment. Only by pretending to be hard-hearted and inhumane can we prevent certain possible accidents from happening. In the restaurant downstairs, Chen Beiwang was eating while browsing his phone. Suddenly, the phone rang and the caller ID showed Datu. His full name is Li Chunshen. He is a good brother and colleague. He got this nickname because he has a big head. He was the first friend Chen Beiwang made when he first came to Longju. Chen Bei looked at the caller ID and smiled. "Hello, big head. Beiwang, I just came back from a business trip today, and I heard that you and Yeye broke up." Li Chunshen's words clearly carried a hint of anxious concern. "Are you okay?" He obviously knew that there was a case of cheating, but he didn't say it directly because he didn't want to rub salt into his brother's wounds. After hearing this, Chen Beiwang looked at the time. Today was Sunday, and it was indeed the day when Li Chunshen just came back from abroad. He immediately smiled and said, "What can I do? Let's break up if we want to." Li Chunshen asked directly, "Where are you now?" "The rental house. I want to go to you for a drink. I've been bored these past few days. Drinking is not for holding back, it is for venting. I'm not at home." Chen Beiwang spoke hurriedly, then after a brief hesitation gave a location on the 5th Ring Road. He didn't want his good brother to know so soon that he was being kept by a 40-year-old rich and beautiful woman. So he made an appointment directly at an old pub that the 2 brothers often went to, then quickly ate a few bites of food and prepared to go out. Just as he was about to go out, he remembered the drunk Shu Ishue upstairs. After thinking for a while, he took out a pen and paper and wrote a note and put it on the dining table. The reason why such a primitive method was used was simply because the two had not yet exchanged contact information. Well, it's normal for newlyweds to have some surprises. In order not to let Dartu wait too long, Chen Beiwang drove the Aston Martin DBS and rushed out quickly with the roar of a beast. Near the 5th Ring Road, Chen Beiwang found a parking lot and parked his car, attracting the attention of passers-by. Then people saw that this handsome, rich second generation actually waved and got into a taxi and drove away. What kind of hobby is this? Playing the pig to eat the tiger? Why not drive your supercar and take a taxi? The tavern was Chen Beiwang's destination. After paying the fare and getting off the car, he looked around and immediately saw Li Chunxing squatting on the side of the road. The guy was dressed in a neat suit and holding a briefcase. He looked quite presentable, but he was squatting on a stone by the roadside with a cigarette in his mouth, which really ruined the view. However, Chen Beiwang felt warmed when he saw this scene. He came to drink with Li Chunxing without even changing his clothes. It was obvious that Li Chunxing really valued his friend. Big head! Chen Beiwang shouted, and Li Chunxing, who was smoking, was stunned for a moment. He then quickly stood up and ran over, cursing, "Damn it, didn't I tell you not to call me nicknames outside? Forget it. Considering your breakup, I'll tolerate you for a few days." Li Chunxing was obviously a chatterbox. He didn't even give Chen Beiwang a chance to speak. He pulled him into the tavern and said, "Beiwang, even though you and Yeye have been dating for 8 years and she even accompanied you to the capital, you two are actually not from the same world. You are steady and hardworking, and willing to endure hardships. She is like a princess in a castle, never having to do housework. You go to work during the day while she sleeps at home until noon, then gets up and orders takeout. At night after work, I have to clean the house and cook dinner for her. If I hadn't upheld the principle of not breaking up the relationship between good brothers, I would have spoken out long ago. It's better to break up. After a few years, when her youth is gone, she will be able to deeply understand who is the best person for her. After 8 years of running, I have seen a person clearly. It is also a good time to stop the loss." Seeing Li Chunxing talking in the booth, Chen Beiwang smiled bitterly and shook his head, then took out a cigarette from his pocket and lit it. "Big head, I'm really not upset, I'm even very happy, do you believe it?" Swish! Li Chunxing was just about to start another cigarette when he heard this and suddenly sat up and leaned over, staring at Chen Beiwang seriously. "Beiwang, you won't be hurt too badly. Are you stupid? That's not right. With your character, even though this is a big blow, it won't cause you to completely collapse, right?" Seeing Li Chunxing's eyes full of worry and anxiety, Chen Beiwang felt warm in his heart, and then laughed, "I'm serious. Can't someone as smart as me see that Lin Royue and I are not suitable? I saw it a long time ago, but I just found an opportunity to break up now." Chapter 6, Workplace Villain. "You idiot, you are just bragging." Li Chunxing obviously didn't believe what Chen Beiwang said and thought he was just pretending to be strong. If it were something else, maybe Li Chunxing would believe it, but this is an 8-year relationship. How many 8 years are there in a lifetime? From the time we were together in college until graduation, and then to Beijing, we have been through so many ups and downs. It would be a lie to say that it is not painful to have no feelings, unless you are not a human being. At this point, love is no longer the impulse and passion of the honeymoon period, but is full of adaptation to each other's support and joy. Anyway, if this kind of thing happened to Li Chunxing, he was sure that he would never be able to get over it. Chen Beiwang was too lazy to make any excuses. This was his nature. He would never argue about things that had no impact on him or were already a foregone conclusion. His predecessor has become a thing of the past in his eyes. Do you really think that your buddy's enlightenment that night at the bar was in vain? How was the business trip? Seeing that Chen Beiwang changed the subject, Li Chunxing tactfully did not ask any more questions. Since they were good brothers, he still had to take his face and emotions into consideration. Not bad. What's wrong with traveling at public expense? Now I have a headache when I think about going to work tomorrow. Li Chunxing shook his head helplessly. He and Chen Beiwang worked in a trading company with many main businesses, ranging from food, clothing, daily necessities to industry. The company was not small in scale, so business trips were often sent abroad. Today happens to be Sunday, so Chen Beiwang has time to go to the blind date corner and debate with the crowd. But I do have to go to work tomorrow. At this moment, Li Chunxing suddenly thought of something and looked at Chen Beiwang and reminded him, Beiwang, I learned about your breakup from our employee group. I guess everyone in the company should know about it. Go to the company tomorrow, you. It was obvious that Li Chunxing was afraid that his good brother would be talked about by others. However, Chen Beiwang smiled casually, people have mouths on their bodies. Even if they don't say anything to your face, there will definitely be gossip behind your back. You can't let rumors kill you, right? Anyway, I can take it easy. Seeing him say this, Li Chunxing also sighed, with a trace of resentment on his face. I don't know which bastard is this is obviously a private matter, but he had to spread it to the company group, what a piece of shit he is. Chen Beiwang smiled when he heard that, who else could it be? Yu Jiaowei. The Yu Jiaowei he mentioned is his colleague in the marketing department. This guy is very jealous and snobbish. He can't stand seeing people around him having a good life. Moreover, in terms of seniority, he joined the company 2 years earlier than Chen Beiwang and was a member of the same batch of employees as Li Chunxing. He can be considered a veteran of the company and has always looked down on newcomers. At a dinner party with colleagues, Chen Beiwang brought his ex-girlfriend Lin Royue with him. As a result, Yu Jiaowei was struck by her beauty from the moment he saw Lin Royue. Putting aside her character, Lin Royue is indeed a great beauty, otherwise she would not have been able to hold the title of school belle in college. She has regular and beautiful facial features, fair skin, beautiful face and long legs. Anyone who sees her would be stunned for a few seconds. Therefore, when Yu Jiaowei saw that Chen Beiwang's girlfriend was so top-notch, his damn jealousy started to take over again, and it escalated to the daily life of the company in the future. He excluded and targeted Chen Beiwang everywhere, and the two of them became enemies because of this. As an enemy, he must have been paying close attention to Chen Beiwang's situation. He learned about Chen Beiwang's cheating in a short period of time, and then excitedly spread the news quickly within the company, in order to make Chen Beiwang a clown and be ridiculed by others. When Li Chunxing heard Chen Beiwang mention Yu Jiaowei's name, he was so angry that he slammed the table. This bastard is a complete bad guy. Sooner or later, I will find a chance to fuck him. Seeing this, Chen Beiwang smiled and waved his hands. It's not worth it to get involved with a small person. If the job fails because of this, it will be more trouble than gain. Let's finish drinking early tonight and go home to sleep. Otherwise, if we are late for clocking in tomorrow, my grandson might tell on us again. The drinking party ended hastily. Firstly, Li Chunxing was very tired after returning from a business trip. Secondly, as Chen Beiwang said, he didn't want to give Yu Jiaowei any more handles. Outside the tavern, Chen Beiwang first personally sent Li Chunxing to a taxi, and then he took a taxi to the parking lot. He called a designated driver for himself. After all, he shouldn't drink and drive, and they returned to the villa area together. In the past, regardless of whether Chen Beiwang had a car, even if he did, he would not be willing to spend money on a designated driver. Chen Beiwang's life was indeed hard in the past. Due to his low income, he spent all his money on Lin Royue and was even reluctant to eat at roadside stalls. If it were someone else, if they suddenly encountered such a situation, they might still cherish money as usual and never dare to spend it lavishly, but Chen Beiwang was different. His character determines that he is just a drop in the ocean among the vast number of people. He was poor before and couldn't bear to spend money, nor did he have any money to spend, but now he is suddenly rich, and he must enjoy what he should enjoy and will never hesitate to spend what he should spend. Perhaps, this is the way a normal and ordinary young person should think. Not engaging in revengeful consumption is a respect for my personality, and not being stingy with spending is a compensation for my past. After arriving at his doorstep, Chen Beiwang paid the designated driver fee and walked slowly into the villa. As soon as he entered, he froze in place. At the dining table, a figure in a nightgown was operating a laptop and eating the meal that Chen Beiwang had prepared tonight. Xu Yixue woke up. Chen Beiwang was greatly surprised. Wasn't she drunk? It's only 2 o'clock when I go out, right? She actually wakes up to eat, and seems to be still working? Wife, you. Because Chen Beiwang had called her his wife before and was in shock this time, he called her his wife without thinking. As a result, Xu Yixue's eyebrows immediately frowned the next second. She turned her head slightly and looked at Chen Beiwang. What did you call me? Wife. Oh. Chen Beiwang couldn't help but feel a little embarrassed, but what kind of person was he? He immediately said seriously, we've already got the marriage certificate, and it's not against the law for me to call you my wife. Besides, when you just came back drunk, you were the one who asked me to call you my wife. Nonsense. Xu Yishui's emotions were obviously very stable. Although she felt that it was impossible for her to be like that, she did not act very surprised. Instead, she continued to deal with things on the computer and did not even look at Chen Bei again. Seeing that Xu Yishui didn't believe it, Chen Bei shrugged indifferently and walked over to sit opposite her. He had just been drinking in the tavern and hadn't eaten anything, so he wanted to stuff some food into his stomach to avoid damaging his stomach. But after taking a bite, he frowned, cold. You don't have any hot dishes. Xu Yishui shook her head. I'm busy with official business. I'll eat it cold. No, I like hot food. Chapter 7, Seeing Through the Plot. After saying that, Chen Beiwang stood up, picked up the plate and walked towards the kitchen. He also put down the chopsticks in Xu Yishui's hand, not giving her the chance to continue picking up food. Xu Yishui was obviously stunned for a moment by Chen Beiwang's action. She stared at the figure as he went into the kitchen with her beautiful eyes, not knowing what she was thinking. The dishes were heated up quickly and soon several steaming plates were back on the table. Chen Beiwang began to eat and drink by himself. He knew Xu Yishui was busy, so he did not disturb her, although he did not know what Xu Yishui was busy with at 2 o'clock in the morning. It was not until Xu Yishui closed the laptop that Chen Beiwang spoke up. When people get drunk, they sleep soundly and wake up naturally the next day. How did you manage to sleep for less than 2 hours? I had some unfinished business at the company, so I set an alarm for myself before drinking. Xu Yishui's personality seems to have always been like this, gentle as water, giving people a feeling that it is difficult to cause waves, but Chen Beiwang has seen a drunk woman before. No wonder you are rich, it turns out you work so hard. Chen Beiwang sighed. Sure enough, most rich people have the willfulness and perseverance that ordinary people do not have. Just thinking about setting the alarm to get up and handle work when drunk, Chen Beiwang asked himself if he could do it. However, when Xu Yishui heard Chen Beiwang sigh, she suddenly asked a question for some reason. In your eyes, are all women of my age who are single and rich disgusting? Chen Beiwang was stunned. Why do you ask that? Perhaps even if he appears to be kind on the surface, deep down he still harbors hatred and jealousy towards people like me. Xu Yishui didn't answer, but spoke on her own, leaving Chen Beiwang confused. Although I don't know why you judge yourself like this, I can tell you seriously that I haven't thought about it that way. As he spoke, Chen Beiwang raised his finger. First, although we have already obtained our marriage certificate, we have only just met. I don't know you, and you don't know me. To put it in a broader sense, we are a pair of strangers, so I have no reason to have any prejudice or hostility towards you. I am not that petty. Second, you are older than me, have more experience than me, and have more money than me. It is not my turn to reason with you, but I still have to say that self-confidence is given by oneself. Others, not even parents, cannot give it to you. Especially adults, if they cannot face up to their current dignity and status, they will not be able to better face life and the people around them. Xu Yishui was stunned. She stared blankly at the young man sitting opposite her, who was holding up 2 fingers. She felt a little dazed for a moment. This guy is quite charming when he is serious about reasoning. And she had to admit that this strange husband did seem to be different from the young men she had met before. He seemed to know exactly what he wanted and what he wanted to have. You mean, I shouldn't care too much about what other people think of me? If you answer correctly, I'll give you a kiss as a reward. The scene suddenly changed. Seeing Chen Beiwang standing up and moving towards her, Xu Yishui was visibly flustered. Are you schizophrenic? He was talking about the philosophy of life seriously 1 second, and came over to ask for a kiss the next. Come on, is it so casual? Chen Beiwang was stunned when he saw this. He saw panic and shyness on Xu Yishui's face. That doesn't make sense. Xu Yishui is 40 years old, beautiful and rich. Chen Beiwang knows with his butt that she has never lacked men around her in her life. Why does she act like this when he just made a little kiss joke? Common sense says that no matter what, Xu Yishui is an experienced woman who has tried all kinds of things. It's just a joke, don't be so nervous. Chen Beiwang smiled awkwardly and sat down again, then changed the subject. Are you sleepy? Xu Yishui shook her head. How about a game of questioning each other at the drinking table? Xu Yishui, who had been looking bored, suddenly became interested when she heard this and nodded immediately. Seeing this, Chen Beiwang laughed inwardly. It turned out that women are gossipy creatures. Obviously, Xu Yixue must want to ask about her past. Of course, Chen Beiwang meant exactly that. Ladies first, especially your own wife, you ask first. Chen Beiwang picked up the wine glass and drank the wine in the glass as long as he didn't want to answer the question asked by the other party. Hearing the ambiguity in Chen Beiwang's words, Xu Yixue rolled her eyes at him, then thought for a moment and spoke slowly. Look at your face. I guess you've had a lot of girlfriends, right? Chen Beiwang smiled, shook his head and put down his wine glass. There was no need to avoid such a question. I was dating someone for 8 years, and we just broke up a few days ago, so I went to the blind date corner and met your old best friend, and then I was led to the Western restaurant and met you. Chen Beiwang told Xu Yixue the whole story in one go. It was obvious that her brain was at a standstill and she didn't know how to respond for a moment. Just broke up? Aren't you sad? After just a moment, Xu Yixue asked the next question. Chen Beiwang smiled and pointed at the wine glass in front of her. Wife, you broke the rules, tilde. Hearing the other party calling her wife all the time, Xu Yixue felt speechless, yet inexplicably felt a touch of sweetness. She also knew that she had broken the rule of one person per question, so she immediately drank the wine in her glass and looked at Chen Beiwang. Can you answer now? I was cheated on. Do you think I am sad or not? Kindness? Xu Yixue's beautiful eyes widened instantly, as if she had discovered some explosive news. Without waiting for Chen Beiwang to stop her, she simply poured herself another glass of wine and drank it all. I broke the rules again. How did you get cheated on? I am so. Chen Beiwang knew that he had underestimated women's gossiping nature, but he did not expect that Xu Yixue, a 40-year-old woman who was a strong woman, would be so gossipy. At that moment, Chen Beiwang told the story of how he and Lin Royue had been in love and known each other for 8 years, had a smooth long-term relationship, and then were poached by a rich fat man. There was no rhetoric or pity-mongering, it was all real experience. Because Chen Beiwang didn't think there was anything difficult to talk about. Smart people would dare to face their past failures. Xu Yixue listened to the whole thing carefully, then sighed with emotion. I didn't expect you to be so miserable. She was not trying to please him, but she really felt sorry for Chen Beiwang. 8 years. He is only 25 years old. His life as an adult was all accompanied by that woman, yet such a shameless thing as an affair happened to him. Now he can still face it with a smile, which is already incredible enough. Honey, is it my turn to ask? Chen Beiwang grinned, as if he didn't care about Xu Yixue's sympathy. He paused and then spoke word by word. Wife, you and your bestie plan to ask me to go to the Western restaurant to break up you and your pretty boy, right? After these words were spoken, Xu Yixue's pretty face finally changed color. Chapter 8. Is your young wife a virgin? She stared blankly at the young man in front of her with a smile on his face, and was a little confused for a moment. She didn't know where the problem lay, but her strange husband had hit the nail on the head. How did you know that? Her rhetorical question undoubtedly proved the truth of Chen Beiwang's guess. 2 things. Chen Beiwang still maintained a warm smile. I will explain your doubts first, and then you tell me why. First of all, at noon, I was tricked by your old bestie into going to a Western restaurant. She told me to find a way to make you break up, and in fact, I did that. You didn't even wait for me to continue my act. You agreed to my request outright and broke up with the pretty boy without hesitation. I felt something was wrong at the time, because you gave me a sense of satisfaction that I had achieved my goal, as if you were waiting for me to make some conditions so that you could save your way. Listening to Chen Beiwang's words, Xu Yixue smiled bitterly. I didn't expect that my anxiety exposed the floor. Then she blinked her beautiful eyes and asked curiously, what about the second point? The second point is just now. Chen Beiwang raised his hand and tapped the goblet in front of him, making a crisp sound. When I answered your question, I deliberately mentioned your old best friend and the Western restaurant as 2 characters and places. But think about it the other way around. You and I just met, so how did I know your best friend? And you didn't react at all when I mentioned the blind date corner. This proves that you knew me before today, or at least had a general understanding of me. At this point, Chen Beiwang deliberately made a look of regret. Wife, you have clearly investigated me and even knew that I was cheated on, but you just acted very surprised and sympathetic. It really makes me, as a husband, feel disappointed. Chen Beiwang's words completely shocked Xu Yixue. She opened her cherry lips slightly and looked at Chen Beiwang with her beautiful eyes. She didn't understand how she, an elite who was able to strategize in the workplace, could be defeated by this young man who was 15 years younger than her as soon as they met. Is he really that smart? Because of shock, Xu Yixue even ignored Chen Beiwang calling her wife. Okay, honey, I've cleared your confusion. Now can you tell me why you chose someone like me to be your contract husband? Chen Beiwang always had a smile on his face, just like his words, a little frivolous but full of composure, as if he had absolute control over the people and things around him. Why? Xu Yixue let out a long sigh, and the sound seemed to have lost all its strength at this moment. You are indeed the husband candidate that Romer and I carefully selected from the vast crowd of people. Good job. This first sentence gave Chen Beiwang a big surprise. A sea of people. Carefully selected? What a spy game. But you can rest assured that I have no ill will towards you, and I have never even thought of using you. I am serious about marriage. As if she was afraid that Chen Beiwang would get angry, Xu Yixue hurriedly opened her mouth to explain. The reason for the sifting through of the sand is to filter out some unqualified target candidates. I'm 40 years old, never married and never had a serious relationship. I don't want to enter old age with regrets and ruin my life, but I also want a love as passionate as when I was young. Speaking of this, Xu Yixue's face became even more lonely. But I know that when I realized this, I was already 35 years old. I had missed the best age for marriage. At the same time, the foundation I had worked hard to build and my own personal strength would attract many men. Some people covered my body, some people covered my money, but no one has ever loved me from the bottom of their heart. Xu Yixue's words made Chen Beiwang frown slightly. You said you've never had a serious relationship, what is that pretty boy? Don't tell me he's also an actor you and your bestie hired. He is not. Xu Yixue looked a little embarrassed. He is my chess piece to fill the emptiness in my life. Although it is impossible to have sex with him, at least he can eat with me, go shopping with me, and do things that couples should do with me. Wait a minute. Chen Beiwang grasped the key point sharply, raised his head and looked at Xu Yixue, his expression obviously showing a hint of surprise. You have known this pretty boy for 4 months and you haven't had sex with him. According to the rhythm of contemporary society, love between men and women is common sense, not to mention that women are like wolves at 30 and tigers at 40. Chen Beiwang really doesn't believe that a 40-year-old woman can withstand the happiness of pleasure. In his subconscious mind, someone like Xu Yixue, who has good looks, a good figure, and a wealthy family, the last thing she lacks is a tool in bed. It's not just Xiaoming. I didn't have sex with any of the boyfriends I dated before him. Another sentence from Xu Yixue completely ignited Chen Beiwang's pretended self-restraint. Wife, are you a virgin? Bang! As soon as he blurted out these words, a pair of chopsticks flew towards him. Fortunately, Chen Beiwang dodged in time, and then said angrily, slip of the tongue, slip of the tongue. However, he could tell from Xu Yixue's rather shy red face that his 40-year-old wife might actually be a virgin. Damn, she hasn't had sex in 40 years, no wonder Chen Beiwang always thinks she's weird. Her indifference like clear water and the way she looked for support in a daze after drinking made Chen Beiwang see a different taste. Xu Yixue was very ashamed and angry at this moment. She regretted it very much. If she had known that Chen Beiwang asked her if she was sleepy just now, she would have gone to sleep. Not only would her secret not be exposed, but even the fact that she had set up the trap would not be exposed. But somehow, she, who was always very vigilant, was not on guard when facing her young husband whom she had just known for less than half a day. At this time, Chen Beiwang knew that Xu Yixue was very embarrassed, so he coughed lightly and hurriedly changed the subject. Wife, you haven't told me why you chose me. Xu Yixue resisted the urge to stop the other party from changing his address. After calming down, she slowly spoke, it's nothing. In fact, you have only been in Romer and I's sight for a little over a month. It was by chance that Romer discovered you, but you had a partner at the time, so I gave up the idea of continuing to observe you. But Romer didn't give up. She always thought you were a good man. You can tell from the details of how you treated your ex-girlfriend. I didn't expect that she would get the chance she wanted. That is, you broke up with your ex-girlfriend, and then you went to the blind date corner to act badly. She took this good opportunity and officially appeared in front of you. Initially, our plan was to use the Western restaurant to create the story of you and me meeting. We didn't plan to get married right away. After all, there are still risks involved. But I've always been reluctant to stick to the rules. I thought that if things don't work out, I could just divorce. It's better than missing out. That's why I rushed to the Civil Affairs Bureau with you to get the marriage certificate. The one drinking with me tonight is Roma, to celebrate the official end of my single life. Chapter 9. Will you come tonight? Listening to Shu Ishue's words, Chen Beiwang suddenly understood, and the doubts that had been bothering him since noon were finally resolved. He actually wondered whether what Shu Ishue had just said was false, but he quickly dispelled this doubt. Because there is no need. Regardless of whether Shu Ishue had other purposes, at least he earned 100,000 yuan a month, a villa and a supercar, not to mention such a beautiful wife. Who wouldn't be envious? After drinking and chatting in the early morning, the two of them seemed to have narrowed the unfamiliar distance between each other. Seeing that it was getting late, Shu Ishue got up and walked towards the master bedroom upstairs. But Chen Beiwang stared at Shu Ishue's steady and slow steps and couldn't help but be stunned. Didn't you drink too much tonight? You know, Shu Ishue was so drunk before that she was staggering and had difficulty walking. Plus, the two of them drank a lot just now. Logically, she should be getting more and more drunk. How can I drink too much when I'm drinking with friends? This isn't work. Shu Ishue didn't stop, but the sound reached Chen Beiwang's ears. The latter was stunned for a moment and then smiled bitterly. I guess I was testing myself by pretending to be drunk. Obviously, if Chen Beiwang had not held back the last line of defense in his heart and had done something inappropriate to Shu Ishue while she was drunk, this marriage would have come to an end tomorrow. Thinking of this, Chen Beiwang couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Fortunately, he was not the kind of bastard who would take advantage of others in distress. But after a short while, Chen Beiwang became conflicted again. Shu Ishue went back to the master bedroom to sleep. What should I do? Should I go to the master bedroom or the second bedroom next door? I am your legitimate husband, so there should be nothing wrong with me sleeping in the same bed with you, right? But looking at the attitude of his wife, it seems that she has no intention of letting him into the house. Chen Beiwang did not think there was anything wrong with Shu Ishue's silent behavior. Although they were husband and wife, they were indeed too unfamiliar with each other, and it was normal for her to be wary of him. Chen Beiwang didn't have the nerve to knock on the door anymore and went to the second bedroom to wash up and sleep. The next morning, Chen Beiwang woke up painfully to the sound of the alarm clock. He fell asleep at 4 o'clock last night, and it was only 6:30. He had only slept for 2.5 hours. There's no way. I can't just not go to work just because I'm sleepy, right? Although he has some money now, Chen Beiwang has never thought about resigning. This is also a habit of his in dealing with people and doing more meaningful things that can occupy his time. When Chen Beiwang walked out of the second bedroom, he heard noises coming from the kitchen downstairs. Shu Ishue got up so early. That's right, she looks like a woman with a strong sense of career ambition, so she naturally wouldn't choose to sleep in. But it is a pleasant surprise that she can still maintain such good condition despite such hard work. As soon as Chen Beiwang went downstairs, Shu Ishue walked out of the kitchen, still wearing a decent nightgown, which faintly outlined her sexy figure. Seeing Chen Beiwang getting up so early, she was not surprised at all. She put the plate in her hand on the table and said, "Wash up and have breakfast. Soy milk, fried dough sticks, steamed buns, fried dough sticks, and pickled vegetables." It's a very ordinary local breakfast, but it looks like it was made by Shu Ishue herself. This undoubtedly gave Chen Beiwang another surprise. Such a wealthy young woman actually had good cooking skills. Seeing that Chen Beiwang was a little dazed, Shu Ishue continued, "Consider it as a reward for last night's midnight snack. Your cooking is delicious, but mine is just average. Just make do with it to fill your stomach." Chen Beiwang smiled and nodded, then sat opposite Shu Ishue in the restaurant. Then they began to eat seriously without communicating with each other. The breakfast tasted pretty good. How bad could it taste for a simple breakfast? And it was obvious that what Shu Ishue said before was self-deprecating. "Are you going to work later?" Seeing that she was almost full, Shu Ishue asked curiously. Seeing Chen Beiwang nod, Shu Ishue asked in confusion, "Since you have received 100,000 yuan per month for marriage funds from me, why do you still want to do that 5,000 yuan a month job? You give what you give, and I work and I earn it with my own hands." Chen Beiwang grinned, "It has a different meaning." After saying that, he threw the last donut into his mouth, stood up, picked up his school bag on the sofa and prepared to go out. "By the way, are you coming here tonight?" Before leaving, Chen Beiwang suddenly stopped, looked at Xu Yixue who was still chewing her breakfast carefully, and asked, "What's wrong? If you come, I'll cook double portions tonight." Chen Beiwang said this very calmly, but he never expected Xu Yixue to be stunned for a while, then nodded, "My business these days is near the suburbs, so it's more convenient to live here." After getting the answer he wanted, Chen Beiwang put on a warm smile again. "Okay, see you tonight." As the roar of the engine in the courtyard gradually faded away, Xu Yixue picked up the donut and drew circles on the surface of the soy milk, a faint smile appearing at the corners of her mouth. "I found a young husband, and he seems to be pretty good." The company where Chen Beiwang works is located in the core business district of Longju, which is near the 2nd Ring Road, but the small villa where he currently lives is in the far suburbs, around the 6th Ring Road. Fortunately, the company's morning clock in time is 9 o'clock. Even so, Chen Beiwang still has to get up at 6:30, wash up, have breakfast, and then deal with the congested morning rush hour. He arrived at the company and successfully clocked in at 8:55. On the way, he thought about parking his DBS father away and riding a shared bike to work, but he really didn't have enough time, so he had to park his car in the company parking lot. The company's full name is Shankar Trading Company, Limited, which is also a listed company. It has two parking lots, an internal parking lot in the basement of the building and a public parking lot at the entrance of the building. As the prime location of the 2nd Ring Road is crowded with luxury cars, Chen Beiwang's DBS was not too conspicuous. As he took the elevator upstairs, he felt a little pain in his heart. The underground internal parking lot is only accessible to the management of all companies in the building, while the public parking lot on the surface is charged $10 an hour. From 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., the parking fee is 90 yuan a day. Chen Beiwang thought that this money should not be spent and was unnecessary, so he felt pain, not because he was stingy. "It seems I need to get a parking card," Chen Beiwang was thinking as the elevator arrived at the 18th floor, Shankar Trading Company, Limited. As soon as the door opened, he heard a fierce quarrel, as if a fight was about to break out at any time. He frowned and walked out of the elevator into the company. From a distance, he saw the work area. A large number of colleagues formed a circle, blocking the quarreling party in the circle. Chen Beiwang looked carefully and found that it was his good brother Li Chunxing and his mortal enemy Yu Jiaowei. His face changed and he rushed over quickly, then yelled, "What the hell are you doing?" Chapter 10. The rest of the Chen Beiwang's loud roar made the originally noisy scene quiet down. Even though he is not a local, is a migrant worker in Beijing and does not have much experience, Chen Beiwang's personality makes him successful wherever he goes. The same is true within the company. He is handsome and capable, and works quickly and efficiently. The only thing his colleagues can complain about him is that he is stingy. "I seldom go to parties or reunions. I only eat in the building cafeteria for lunch and go home after get off work without spending a penny." In fact, it's not that Chen Beiwang is stingy, it's that he really doesn't have any spare money for entertainment. It's only 5,000 yuan a month. When the business situation is good, he can earn 7,000 to 8,000 yuan from business trips and commissions. But the problem is that he has to support his ex-girlfriend Lin Royue. Lin Royue had no income at all and just played all day long. What's more, the two of them came from other places and rented an old and shabby apartment. Their food, clothing, and all expenses depended on the several thousand yuan salary every month. Chen Beiwang wanted to live a more comfortable life, but he really couldn't do it. Occasionally, when I went out drinking with Li Chunxing, he always paid the bill. So in the eyes of his colleagues, Chen Beiwang has only this one shortcoming worth mentioning. Apart from that, he is indeed quite cohesive and popular. And now, when colleagues saw the protagonist Chen Beiwang coming, everyone's expression couldn't help but be teasing and puzzled. "Beiwang, you came at the right time. This bastard deserves to be fucked." Chen Beiwang frowned and looked at the tall and thin man not far in front of him. He was about 1.9 meters tall, but as thin as a bamboo pole, and weighed at most 130 kilograms. His looks can only be described as mediocre, and his small, round eyes give off a traitor's vibe. He is Yu Jiaowei, the number one enemy of Chen Beiwang and Li Chunxing's company. At this time, Yu Jiaowei listened to Li Chunxing's scolding and was not intolerant at all. "Bullshit, Li Chunxing, you think I dare not fight with you, right? Grass." Li Chunxing has never been a good-tempered person. He tends to be violent. Just take the 3 years that Chen Beiwang has known him as an example. This guy has fought with others at least 10 times. Seeing Yu Jiahui still cursing, he rolled up his sleeves and was about to take action, but was hurriedly stopped by Chen Beiwang. Li Chunxing, like him, is also a model employee in the company and one of the most capable ones. The reason why he has not been promoted is because of his repeated fights. Chen Beiwang is very clear that no matter how strong your personal business ability is, the management's tolerance for an ordinary employee is limited. If Li Chunxing continued to act without caring about the consequences, the result would be dismissal without any compensation. The key point is that the quarrel between him and Yu Jiahui must be because of him, and Chen Beiwang didn't want to feel guilty. Big head, what's going on? Listening to Chen Beiwang's question, Li Chun panted heavily, pointed at Yu Jiahui, and said through gritted teeth, "Do you know what I saw when I came to the company just now? This bastard is on a video call with Lin Royue." As soon as these words came out, Chen Beiwang's whole body shook violently. He finally understood the meaning of the looks his colleagues had given him just now. But then he began to doubt again. Didn't Lin Royue leave with an old fat pig? How did she hook up with Yu Jiahui? Also, when did the two of them become WeChat friends? It's my freedom to make video calls with anyone, Li Datu, you are so nosy. Yu Jiahui was obviously not afraid at all and still maintained his arrogant attitude. Chen Beiwang and Ye have broken up. I can talk to people however I want. Fuck it. Li Chunxing's anger, which had just subsided a little, was ignited again. Is Ye also something you, a dog, can call me? Chen Beiwang helplessly held Li Chunxing tightly to prevent him from making mistakes. Big head, have you forgotten what we talked about last night? It's not worth it for you to sacrifice your future for this bastard. Li Chunxing was furious. Beiwang, what this grandson did is really inhumane. His anger was visible to the naked eye, and everyone could clearly see that he was speaking up for Chen Beiwang, who felt a warm feeling in his heart. However, Chen Beiwang still remained rational. He gained enlightenment in the bar and had long let go of the past. Listen to me, don't be impulsive. After calming down Li Chunxing's anger, Chen Beiwang turned his head and looked at Yu Jiahui, who had a sarcastic look on his face. Why are you being so arrogant? Chen Beiwang's sudden question stunned Yu Jiahui, and even the other colleagues were confused. What's the meaning? Yu Jiahui, do you think Lin Royue would like you? Chen Beiwang said this with a smile on his face, but it was as if a machete had stabbed into his body, and his expression suddenly became gloomy. You tried to exclude me and laugh at me through this, but you never thought that the person you are so happy to get now is the one I left behind. Chen Beiwang has always had a poisonous tongue, and he continued to rub salt into the wound. No, you can't get it. You don't even have the qualifications to be my junior. Yu Jiahui's expression suddenly turned extremely ugly. Because Chen Beiwang was right, he really couldn't get Lin Royue, and the latter suddenly contacted him just because Lin Royue wanted to trouble him for something. As for the video call just now, Yu Jiahui did it on purpose to provoke Chen Beiwang and Li Chunxing. But he never expected that the stimulation failed, and he was killed by Chen Beiwang with just a few words. As soon as he said this, all his colleagues looked at him as if they had understood, their eyes full of derision and ridicule. Yeah, you just snatched someone else's leftovers and you're still being so smug about it. What's more, I haven't even gotten it yet. I'm going to kill you. Yu Jiahui lost his mind due to being stared at by countless people, and he picked up the work chair and was about to take action. What are you doing? Seeing this, Chen Beiwang shouted again, Yu Jiahui, can't you help yourself and want to take action? Okay, come on, fight. Let's see if you will be fired by the company, let's see if you will be arrested, let's see if you will compensate me. The three questions were like a fatal blow, completely extinguishing Yu Jiahui's anger. He has been a veteran in the company for so many years, so he is naturally not a fool who acts impulsively. Chen Beiwang's words awakened his rationality, and he knew what the consequences would be if he took the initiative. After all, he is not an employee with outstanding abilities like Li Chunxing. He is mediocre, and if he had not made no mistakes and given the company the opportunity to fire him, he would have been fired long ago. This is also the reason why Chen Beiwang dared to provoke him. He wanted to let this grandson understand that no matter what you do, you must have confidence, instead of relying on some despicable behavior to earn glory. In the end, this fast came to an end with the intervention of management. There was no punishment or anything like that because a company of this size would not pay too much attention to such grassroots employees. But starting today, in addition to the rumor that Chen Beiwang was cheated on, there is another hot topic in the company. Yu Jiahui is not even qualified to be the scapegoat. Chapter 11, Working with Your Ex. Of course, as this incident continued to ferment, Yu Jiaowei's hatred towards Chen Beiwang obviously rose to a higher level. For the whole morning, the look in his eyes when he looked at Chen Beiwang not far away was filled with overwhelming hatred. The way this grandson looks at you, it's as if you killed his mother. At noon in the cafeteria of the building, while the two of them were getting their food, Li Chunxing spoke with a smile. He was no longer angry at all at this moment. Because what Chen Beiwang said was so damning. Sure enough, when people think about problems in a different way, they will find different shining points. Otherwise, this kid is really a magical species. Li Chunxing continued to sigh. In the 3 years since you came to the company, you have fought against him so many times, both openly and secretly, but this guy has never defeated you once, but he just wants to go against you. If he applies this attitude to work, maybe he can do as well as the two of us. Chen Beiwang couldn't help but shake his head and laugh when he heard this. I never even looked at him straight in the eye, and I don't take him seriously at all. I'm just curious about why Lin Royue is looking for him. In Chen Beiwang's opinion, Lin Royue and Yu Jiaowei have nothing in common, and there is no reason for them to be together for no reason. I asked about this morning. Li Chunxing came over and spoke in a low voice. Isn't Yu Jiaowei's cousin from our HR department? It seems that Lin Royue is looking for Yu Jiaowei, and wants him to work in our company. This news really surprised Chen Beiwang, because he had known Lin Royue for so many years, and the latter was not a person who liked to go to work at all. The two had quarreled about this many times, but the ending was always the same, and Chen Beiwang always bowed his head and gave in. Even though they came to Longju 3 years ago, the two of them have been having a very difficult time during this period. Lin Royue didn't even say she wanted to go to work, so why did she suddenly do such a thing? But Chen Beiwang lost interest after a brief surprise. What Lin Royue wanted to do had nothing to do with him. If she can really come to work at Shankar Trading Company, Limited, then she will come. Chen Beiwang didn't think it was shameful to work in the same company as his ex-girlfriend. You live your life and I do mine, and we keep to ourselves. Chen Beiwang's current attitude towards Lin Royue is no like, no love, no revenge, no hatred. How does the saying go? The most familiar stranger. Damn, the food in our building's cafeteria is really terrible. Chen Beiwang took a sip of the rice porridge, which contained a total of 8 grains of rice. It's never tasty. It's only because you said it doesn't cost money that I eat with you in the cafeteria every day at noon. Li Chunxing was speechless when he heard this. As a formal employee of a listed company, I do have some welfare benefits, at least lunch is free, although the food is indeed average. No, from now on we will eat out at noon instead of in the cafeteria. Chen Beiwang looked at the 2 vegetarian dishes and 1 meatless dish on the plate, and immediately made up his mind to tell the cafeteria in the building to go there. Unexpectedly, when he said this, Li Chunxing's eyes widened. You bastard, how can you be so shameless after breaking up? You go out to eat every day, and you'll go bankrupt if I don't eat well for you. Chen Beiwang suddenly felt amused and waved his hands. It's not you who spends the money, it's me who spends the money. You? Li Chunxing quickly refused. Forget it. You have to pay for your daily expenses yourself. After all, I have a home and parents to cook for me. Although it's a bit expensive, who makes me your godfather? I'm your father. The two of them cursed at each other, ate quickly and went back to work. However, in the afternoon, the arrival of an uninvited guest once again caused a bloody storm in the entire company. As the company's electric door opened, the crisp sound of high heels hitting the ground attracted most employees to look up. Then a pair of straight sexy long legs came into everyone's sight. As their heartbeat quickened and the breathing became heavier, everyone's eyes moved upwards and then fixed on a delicate and moving face. Lin Royue. Li Chunxing was the first to exclaim, his eyes full of disbelief. Why did she come to the company? Could it be? As expected, Yu Jiaowei walked forward with a smile on his face, his tone enthusiastic and excited. Yeah, you came so quickly. You're here for an interview, you can't be late. Lin Royue smiled gently, and her voice was as sweet and pleasant as a lark. Afterwards, Lin Royue greeted many colleagues with a smile. After all, she had attended a dinner party with Chen Beiwang, so she had met him before. Come on, I'll take you to the HR department. Yu Jiaowei led the way diligently in front, and Lin Royue followed, twisting her slender waist, until their figures disappeared in the work area. The next moment, the scene erupted in exclamations and uproar, and most colleagues' eyes fell on Chen Beiwang, who had a calm expression. Beiwang, don't think too much. Just assume that you two don't know each other. Yes, Wangzi, if you let her affect your mood, you will have big problems at work. Almost all those who spoke to persuade and comfort him were female colleagues, which shows that Chen Beiwang is really popular with the opposite sex. As for the male colleagues, most of them still felt a little gloating. After all, Lin Royue is such a beautiful woman and she is Chen Beiwang's girlfriend. They would all be more or less envious and jealous, but not as obvious as Yu Jiawei's. Now that the two have broken up, Chen Beiwang is still the one who was cheated on, so they are naturally happy to see this scene. Don't worry, I'm fine. I only look forward and never dwell on the past. Chen Beiwang showed a harmless and warm smile, but many people felt that he was pretending to be strong. Li Chuanxing's workstation was next to Chen Beiwang's. He slid his work chair over and frowned as he whispered, "Damn, did Yu Jiawei's grandson really get involved with Lin Royue?" In fact, both of them knew very well that Yu Jiawei relied on his cousin who was an HR, and as long as Lin Royue came for the interview, there was a high probability that she would be successfully hired. Just thinking about the scenes in the future, Li Chunxing couldn't help but worry about Chen Beiwang. "Beiwang, what are you going to do? What should we do?" Chen Beiwang was a little confused. "Are you going to resign or not?" Li Chunxing said shockingly. "If you plan to quit your job, I will travel the world with you now." "You bastard! I'm not interested in men." Chen Beiwang punched Li Chunxing speechlessly. "Why would you quit your job? How difficult is it to find a stable job now? Besides, this is in Longju, stop imagining nonsense. Since I'm here, I'll make the best of it. She'll be my new employee, and I'll focus on my career." Just as the two had guessed, at 3:30 p.m. that day, the Human Resources Department sent a new appointment email to all employees, confirming the official employment of new employee Lin Royue. Chapter 12, The Ex-Girlfriend. Speculation is one thing, and having the news confirmed is another. Lin Royue's successful joining caused a sensation in the entire company, and almost all topics among colleagues revolved around this woman. This scene also made Li Chunxing angry again. What was the management thinking? They let HR recruit Lin Royue and caused rumors all over the company. Aren't they afraid that it would affect the normal operation of the company? We are in this business where we are shameless in front of others. Besides, this is a large company of this scale, so I can understand the management's thinking. Chen Beiwang was probably the most abnormal one in everyone's eyes, because he behaved too normally. I use me to relieve stress, colleagues to entertain themselves, and management to think 3 steps ahead before making the next move. We young people are still far from being good enough in the workplace. Besides, you know Lin Royue's situation. She has an MBA like me and also minored in business management. How could the company let go of such a professional talent? Listening to Chen Beiwang's words, Li Chunxing was still furious but helpless. He couldn't just rush into the chairman's office with a stick and threaten to fire Lin Royue, right? "Oh, I always feel that there will be no good days in the future." Li Chunxing shook his head and sighed, sulking at his workstation. Chen Beiwang smiled carefreely and continued to be busy with his work. On the other hand, Yu Jiawei, as an old employee, very attentively arranged a workstation for Lin Royue and enthusiastically told her some things about the company's regulations. However, Lin Royue's gaze drifted towards Chen Beiwang from time to time, making Yu Jiawei very angry. Just looking at Lin Royue's affectionate eyes, why is it so hard for others to believe that she cheated on Chen Beiwang? Not to mention outsiders, even Chen Beiwang was very surprised. What is Lin Royue doing? It was obvious that she didn't love me and betrayed me, but now she is doing this? Establishing a personal image in front of colleagues. Chen Beiwang actually guessed it right. After all, he had been with Lin Royue for 8 years and was very familiar with the latter's personality. Lin Royue is a woman who cares a lot about her reputation. She values her reputation, figure, appearance and other external things. To put it bluntly, this woman has no inner qualities and her thoughts are all written on her face. She must know that her reputation in the new company will be bad, so she will definitely find ways to create a new personality. For example, enthusiasm, kindness, consistency in feelings, etc. Just like that, at the end of a working day, when everyone was about to leave, Lin Royue took the initiative to find Chen Beiwang. "Look north. This warning call stunned all the colleagues present, and hundreds of eyes looked in this direction. Chen Beiwang suddenly felt a headache. He really didn't want to have anything to do with Lin Royue anymore, so his face was calm and he responded as if he was talking to a stranger. What's up? Let's have dinner together tonight. Lin Royue's eyes were filled with a bright smile, and her voice was gentle yet generous. Chen Beiwang was about to refuse, but she continued, after dinner, I'll go to the rental house with you and pack up some of my daily necessities and take them away. Although we broke up, many things bear our imprints, and I want to preserve this beauty. Hearing this, Chen Beiwang sneered inwardly. He looked at the colleagues around him who were watching the show. From their expressions, Chen Beiwang could tell that everyone might gradually begin to question the fact that Lin Royue had cheated on them. Unless the person involved is like this, anyone who hears Lin Royue say such words will subconsciously regard Chen Beiwang as a heartless man. But unfortunately, Chen Beiwang knew Lin Royue too well, and he would not give her the slightest chance to bully him. You don't have to eat. As for your things, I will pack them up. Just give me an address and I will mail them to you. Seeing Chen Beiwang being so heartless, Lin Royue was obviously stunned. Because based on her understanding of her ex-boyfriend, Chen Beiwang should agree 100%. But before Lin Royue could continue speaking, Chen Beiwang and Li Chunxing walked into the opened elevator door. Lin Royue wanted to go in together, but Chen Beiwang raised his hand and blocked the entrance with a bang. It's full. Please take the next elevator. After saying that, the elevator door slowly closed, and Chen Beiwang clearly saw a hint of anger on Lin Royue's face. She had been hit twice by Chen Beiwang's consecutive inhumanity. Given her temper as a young lady, she was obviously angry now. But what does that have to do with Chen Beiwang? After leaving the building, Li Chunxing's face was full of surprise and excitement. Okay, Beiwang, I didn't expect you to be so resolute. I thought you would soften your heart after Lin Royue said that. It seems like you really treat her as a thing of the past. I support you. Stop talking nonsense. I have to go home. Chen Beiwang was too lazy to argue with Li Chunxing and walked towards the bus stop on the side of the road. It was the rush hour for his colleagues to get off work. If he went directly to the parking lot to pick up the car, his colleagues would definitely see the gorgeous and high-profile Aston Martin DBS. He hasn't decided yet whether to make this matter public, so it's better to keep a low profile. It's not that I'm afraid of rumors, but I'm mainly afraid of getting into trouble. When a person's life suddenly undergoes a huge change, there will definitely be many chain reactions. For example, when a person goes from being a rich man to becoming a pauper, he will definitely encounter many difficulties in his life. When a poor boy suddenly becomes very rich, a group of relatives and friends will quickly appear around him. As the saying goes, no one cares about the poor in a busy city, but the rich in the mountains have distant relatives. Chen Beiwang is a very open-minded person. He knows very well that if the changes in his life were known by people around him, it would inevitably lead to many unexpected events that he could not control, so he chose to conceal it temporarily. Did he really leave on the bus? No, of course not. Chen Beiwang took the bus for 3 stops, walked around a small commodity city for a while and bought some things, then took a taxi back to the company parking lot. Now it was more than an hour since the end of get off work, and it was undoubtedly much safer, so Chen Beiwang drove away quickly. Returning to his villa in the suburbs, Chen Beiwang suddenly saw a red Ferrari parked on the side of the road. Is your wife back? Chen Beiwang walked into the villa carrying a lot of bags and saw Xu Yixue sitting on the sofa typing on a laptop. Hearing that Chen Beiwang had returned, Xu Yixue turned her head slightly to take a look, then continued working. Wife, you're back early. Chen Beiwang put down his things and walked to the sofa and sat down. Only then did he look at Xu Yixue straight in the eye. The latter had obviously just returned not long ago and had not yet changed into her home clothes. She was wearing a light-colored inner lining, black pencil pants, a pair of silver high heels, and her hair was tied up, giving her the air of a workplace elite. Chapter 13 to Detail Control. His calling her wife immediately stopped Xu Yixue's movements. Her chest could be seen rising and falling. She wanted to say something but gave up in the end. Did you buy groceries? Xu Yixue asked softly. She had already seen Chen Beiwang coming in carrying 2 bags. No, I bought a lot of vegetables at the market yesterday, enough to last for a few days. Chen Beiwang smiled and placed the 2 bags on the coffee table and opened them. There were all kinds of things inside. I bought some snacks and drinks. I noticed that you often work overtime at night. Some snacks can relieve the accumulated pressure in your cerebral cortex. I also bought some small ornaments and fragrances to embellish my life. Although the living environment here is good, it still lacks the feeling of home. Chen Beiwang's words made Xu Yixue raise her beautiful eyes and stare at him. A person's heart can be seen in the details. At least 2 points can be seen from the things Chen Beiwang bought. First, Chen Beiwang expressed his concern for himself. Second, he really treats this place as his home. You go ahead and do your thing. I'll go cook. Chen Beiwang took out a can of Wangzai milk and stuffed it into Xu Yixue's hand, then stood up and went to the kitchen with a smile. Remember to drink it quickly, or you won't be able to eat much for dinner. These words immediately made Xu Yixue's eyes soften. He knows that he has a small appetite. Apparently, Chen Beiwang was always paying attention to himself while having supper last night. When Xu Yixue finally finished her work, dinner was brought to the table by Chen Beiwang. There were only 2 of them, and one of them had a small appetite, so Chen Beiwang didn't cook much. There were only 2 dishes, 1 meat and 1 vegetable, plus a hot soup, rice, and a plate of cut fruit. Thank you, honey. As soon as the 2 of them sat down, Chen Beiwang's words made Xu Yixue a little confused. Thank me for what? You clearly haven't finished your work, but you came home early to wait for me. Of course I have to thank you for such a warm gesture. Chen Beiwang spoke while serving soup to Xu Yi, who blushed slightly when she heard it. Because what Chen Beiwang said was right, she became a little restless at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Although Xu Yixue didn't know why she was like this, there seemed to be a voice in the deepest part of her heart urging her to go home quickly. It seemed that as long as she went home earlier than him, she would have the warm feeling of a virtuous wife waiting for her husband. Therefore, Xu Yixue left the company early, and was willing to go home and sit on the sofa to handle work. At this moment, feeling Chen Beiwang's heartwarming gratitude, a sense of happiness quickly rose in her heart. That's the feeling of having your insignificant efforts rewarded. They looked at each other in silence, but cared for each other. Even though they had only met yesterday, the feeling that Chen Beiwang brought to Xu Yixue was something she had never experienced even once in 40 years. At this moment, Xu Yixue knew that her marriage might be a pairing. How was work today? During the meal, they always had to find some topics to make the atmosphere not too dull. Xu Yixue let go of her reserve and took the initiative to speak. It's okay. There are always bad things happening at work. Chen Beiwang smiled, but his smile seemed a little helpless. Xu Yixue was very perceptive and immediately noticed something was wrong. She asked, "Do your colleagues know about you?" The fact that we have a mortal enemy has already been announced, so this is not a big deal. Chen Beiwang shook his head. It's just that my predecessor officially joined our company today. These words made Xu Yixue's eyes slightly widen. Is it so, melodramatic? What should I do? How about you quit your job and find another one? Xu Yixue wanted to say directly, just quit your job and come to my company. But then he remembered what Chen Beiwang had said to him last night, and immediately gave up the idea of saying such strong and overbearing words. It's okay. Since I've let go of her, there's no way she can come into my life again. Chen Beiwang smiled and refused, but I am also a human being, I also have emotions and desires. It will take me some time to slowly accept this kind of thing. If I say she can't influence me at all, that's a lie. It's a plot that only appears in novels. I'm not the protagonist. At this point, Chen Beiwang changed the subject and looked at Xu Yixue with a half smile. Wife, are you afraid that I will rekindle my old relationship with her? Xu Yixue's thoughts were exposed, so she could only secretly glare at the other party fiercely, but in fact she was shocked in her heart. Yes, why would I have such a thought? Am I really in love with this strange husband? But we just met yesterday. Don't worry, my dear. I am not the kind of person who would betray you and then abandon you. Since I have married you, I will not do anything to let this marriage down. Chen Beiwang tried to calm Xu Yixue down, and the latter tried to change the subject. What's the name of your company? Shankar Trading Company, Limited. Chen Beiwang did not evade the question and generously stated the company's name. He then immediately added, Wife, although I don't know how far you have worked hard, no matter whether you have the ability to lend me a hand or not, I don't want you to interfere with my work. Xu Yixue paused, and after a moment of silence, she nodded and agreed. This little guy is so smart, he can guess all my thoughts, so amazing. After dinner, Chen Beiwang naturally cleaned up the dishes and prepared to wash them. What surprised him was that Xu Yixue also followed him in to help wash the dishes. Let me take care of this kind of trouble, Chen Beiwang said with a smile. But Xu Yixue shook her head and said, you are not the nanny I hired. There is no reason for you to do the housework alone. If I'm not a babysitter, then what am I? Chen Beiwang suddenly became playful and asked Xu Yixue questions while staring at her with a smile. Xu Yixue's breathing stagnated when she heard this, and she glanced at Chen Beiwang in shame and anger. You clearly know the answer, why are you still asking me? That's different. What if the answer in my heart is different from the answer in your heart? It's just a childish trick. Wife, dear wife, please tell me Tilda. Chen Beiwang suddenly started to act coquettishly, but not at all effeminate, and instead, her behavior was full of humor and interest. Seeing Chen Beiwang sticking close to her, Xu Yixue's body gradually tensed up, and she spoke hastily in panic. Husband. What's wrong, wife? Why are you calling me husband? Chen Beiwang continued to act up, and Xu Yixue showed the shyness that a girl should have, kicked him and ran away. He. Chen Beiwang stood there smiling foolishly. Although Xu Yixue was already 40 years old, she had obviously devoted all her life to her career, so that when it came to matters like love between men and women, it was like first love, which made people reminisce endlessly. Afterwards, Chen Beiwang started washing the dishes while humming a song, and didn't forget to mutter at the end. Such a luxurious home doesn't even have a dishwasher. How inconvenient. Chapter 14, My Wife Has Depression. After cleaning up the kitchen, Chen Beiwang walked to the living room, but there was no sign of Xu Yixue. Instead, the sound of running water came from the open door of the master bedroom upstairs. Kindness? Taking a shower without closing the door? Then my husband has to take a bath together. Chen Beiwang fantasized a little in his heart, then he walked to the sofa with a smile, sat down, took out a cigarette and lit it. And on the coffee table in front of him, there was an ashtray. Chen Beiwang remembered clearly that when he moved in yesterday, there was no ashtray. Obviously, this was what Xu Yixue brought back when she returned home today. She knew about his problem, but instead of stopping him, she gave him silent approval. Several years later, beside Qianhu Lake in Chanbai Mountain, Chen Beiwang looked at the person he had been with for half his life and asked the questions that had troubled him for many years. You knew I smoked and it was a bad habit, so why didn't you do anything about it? Everyone has stress in life, and there are many ways to relieve stress. Your choice is your willingness. A man is a young man until he dies. I don't want to erase your few ways to relieve stress. Even though I know this is bad for your health, even though I know this day will come. But going back in time, I still repeat the choice I made back then. Bored Chen Beiwang was chatting with Li Chunxing on WeChat. The latter was obviously upset about Lin Royue's sudden start of work, and coming to her ex-boyfriend's company. He vowed to find out the whole story. Chen Beiwang's persuasion was useless, so he didn't bother to pay attention to this stubborn guy. Just then, there was a sudden call from upstairs. Are you busy? What's wrong, honey? I'm very free. Chen Beiwang's eyes lit up. Did he want me to help him scrub his back? I have something in my bag, please help me bring it up. In the bag? Chen Beiwang subconsciously looked at the custom-made Chanel handbag on the side of the sofa, and then opened it. Some cosmetics, a box of medicine, and a pair of black lace panties. Oh my god, let's do it. Needless to say, men's eyes will synchronously fall on the black sexiness. The same thing happened to Chen Beiwang. He wanted to look away, but his eyes just wouldn't listen to his brain's control. Did you see that? My spare underwear. Xu Yixue's voice upstairs was a little shy. She never said the word underwear, probably because she felt it was not classy enough. Oh okay, honey, I'll bring it up to you right away. After saying that, Chen Beiwang took a deep breath, then suddenly grabbed the black underwear and walked upstairs. Wait, why is there a box of medicine in the handbag? With doubts in his mind, Chen Beiwang came to the door of the master bedroom on the second floor. Opposite it was the bathroom door, which was made of frosted glass. Through the mist and light, you can just see the graceful and sexy figure inside, as well as the refreshing fragrance coming from the slightly open door. The next second, the bathroom door opened a little again, and a white little hand covered with water droplets stretched out. Give me. Just 2 words, but filled with shyness and nervousness. Chen Beiwang suppressed the strong impulse in his heart, walked quickly forward, put the thing in the little hand, then turned around and hurried downstairs. He felt that if he looked at it for just 2 more seconds, the primitive power would no longer be suppressed. Don't think that Chen Beiwang is a pervert. No one is saint. When faced with a beauty on earth, with the buff of his legal identity, who can control himself? Chen Beiwang went downstairs as if he had fled, sat on the sofa and took deep breaths. But in just a moment his attention was attracted by the box of medicine. Duloxetine. Chen Beiwang's brows frowned instantly. Depression medication. His family runs a clinic, and his parents both graduated from reputable medical schools, so Chen Beiwang knows very well what duloxetine is used for. But Chen Beiwang never expected that his newly married wife would be suffering from depression. Next, Chen Beiwang opened the duloxetine, and inside was not an instruction manual, but a handwritten case note. There are a few words printed on the top of the desk: Jingxi People's Hospital. The signature is the chief physician of the psychology department, Chen Guangming. In the middle section are the handwritten medical records and medication rules of the doctor named Chen. Moderate depression, once a day, recheck after 3 courses of treatment. Or moderate depression. Chen Beiwang's brows furrowed even tighter, and after a moment he seemed to realize something. Xu Yixue is 40 years old and has never been married and has no serious love experience. She has spent half her life building her career. It is normal for a woman like her to feel pressure. However, these are just Chen Beiwang's guesses, and the specific situation needs further investigation. Thinking of this, Chen Beiwang immediately sent a message to Li Chunxing. Big head, please ask for half a day off tomorrow. I have something to do. Just after sending the message, Xu Yixue finished her shower, changed into her nightgown, and walked downstairs. Seeing this, Chen Beiwang continued to look at the desk in his hands without saying a word. Xu Yixue walked over, and when she saw Chen Beiwang seriously studying his diagnosis report, her pretty face suddenly changed, and then she snatched it away. Why are you rummaging through other people's things? Xu Yixue wanted to get angry, but when she looked at Chen Beiwang's innocent and indifferent expression, she couldn't get angry at all. Honey, you asked me to help you with your underwear, but your handbag is so small, so it's natural that it was seen. Chen Beiwang looked innocent, which made Xu Yi so angry that she was itching but she could do nothing about it. But soon, Xu Yixue's face became strange, as if she had lost all her strength. She sat down on the sofa and said softly, "Are you surprised to know that I have this disease?" She was prepared for Chen Beiwang to back down. Illness? What illness? However, Chen Beiwang asked back with a look of surprise, then picked up the duloxetine. Wife, do you call depression a disease? Alas, it seems that your husband still needs to teach you a lesson. Who among those who are trying to survive in society these days doesn't suffer from depression? Depression, schizophrenia, multiple personality disorder, these are everywhere. There's nothing I can do. Life is stressful, and people have to find ways to relieve it. Depression is nothing. You're talking as if I don't have it. You have depression too. Xu Yixue's originally lost expression suddenly aroused Chen Beiwang's curiosity. Have. Chen Beiwang nodded heavily and said seriously, I have severe depression. If I can't see you for a day, I will want to commit suicide. Phew. Xu Yixue burst into laughter instantly, and her smile at that moment was as dazzling as blooming mountain flowers. Don't worry. It's just depression. You have a husband now. These minor illnesses and disasters will gradually go away. Seeing Chen Beiwang trying to liven up the atmosphere and comforting her soul, Xu Yixue's eyes became softer, and thousands of words came to her lips, and finally turned into a well-behaved and happy. Kindness. Chapter 15, My wife is depressed because. Nothing happened that night. The next morning, Chen Beiwang got up early and prepared breakfast for Xu Yixue. Unlike what Xu Yixue, a native of the area, made, Chen Beiwang had prepared the ingredients before going to bed last night and made authentic Jinling snacks. Pot stickers with soup dumplings, plus osmanthus and red bean rice dumplings. Xu Yixue praised the breakfast highly. There was also a hint of surprise in her eyes when she looked at Chen Beiwang, as if she couldn't expect that this little man could be so capable. Don't be so surprised, honey. I am from Jinling. Your mother-in-law taught me this when I was little. Hearing Chen Beiwang mention the term mother-in-law, Xu Yixue's pretty face flushed, but she soon thought of something, and her beautiful eyes darkened. They probably don't know about your marriage yet, right? Shu Yixue was a little scared. She was afraid that Chen Beiwang's parents would not be able to accept a woman of her age. After all, Chen Beiwang is only 25 years old, and his parents are at most 50 years old. How can the age difference between his daughter-in-law and her parents-in-law be less than 10 years? Chen Beiwang looked at Shu Yixue's expression and knew what she was worried about. He said decisively, "I didn't tell my family because I was planning to give them a surprise later." "Are you sure you're not frightened?" Shu Yixue smiled bitterly, her tone full of helplessness. "Why are you scared?" Chen Beiwang pretended to be confused. "You are talented, smart, perseverant and capable, rich and beautiful, gentle and generous. Although we have only been together for 2 days, I really feel that I can't finish describing your advantages in a short time. My parents are so happy to have such a high-quality daughter-in-law, why would they be scared?" "But age." Just as Shu Yixue was about to speak, she was interrupted by Chen Beiwang. "What era is this? How can there be age discrimination? How many celebrities and internet celebrities marry a wife who is 20 or 30 years younger than themselves? Aren't there many such cases? Is it illegal to swap the genders of a man and a woman so that the woman is older than the man?" Although Chen Beiwang's words sounded a bit twisted, what he said was indeed reasonable and it also effectively dispelled Shu Yixue's worries. "Okay, I'm going out, honey. See you tonight." Chen Beiwang greeted Shu Yixue warmly and then left home neatly. Of course he didn't go to work, but drove straight to Beijing West People's Hospital. He had to find the chief physician to have a good talk with him about his wife's condition. After arriving at Beijing West People's Hospital, Chen Beiwang went straight to the floor where the psychology department was located. Then he found Chief Physician Chen Guangming on the registration machine and directly made an appointment with an expert. After waiting silently for nearly an hour, it was finally his turn. Chen Beiwang walked into the medical room and saw an old doctor with glasses and grey hair. "Hello, Director Chen." Chen Beiwang greeted him politely, then sat down at the other party's gesture. Chen Guangming said with a smile, "Do you have anything to tell me?" He is a psychologist and knows that attitude towards patients is particularly important, so he does not have a cold and arrogant attitude like the directors of other departments. "Director Chen, I'm not sick. I came here to ask you about a patient." Chen Beiwang smiled and explained, "Her name is Shu Yixue. She received treatment and prescription medicine from you. I wonder if you have any impression of her." "Yixue." Chen Guangming was stunned for a moment, and his expression showed some vigilance. "Who are you? Why are you asking about her?" The registration record showed Chen Beiwang's name, which was different from Shu Yixue's last name. So at his age, it was unlikely that he was Shu Yixue's younger brother, so Chen Guangming couldn't help but be alert. "I'm her husband." However, after Chen Beiwang revealed his identity, he was met with a sneer from Chen Guangming. "Boy, this is Jingxi People's Hospital, a holy place. How can you be a liar and come here? And your husband? You are 25 and he is 40. Can't you even make up a lie?" Chen Beiwang had long guessed that Chen Guangming would not believe it, and if he wanted to inquire about Shu Yixue's condition, he had to do so in the capacity of a family member, so he was well prepared. Chen Beiwang took out a small red book from his bag and placed it in front of Chen Guangming. "Director Chen, I am really her wife. Here is the marriage certificate." Chen Guangming picked it up and examined it with a look of surprise, and soon his expression became interesting. "Is Yixue married?" It was obvious that Chen Guangming and Shu Yixue were very familiar with each other. They were not just doctor and patient, but also friends, like elder and junior. After saying that, he looked up at Chen Beiwang, who was smiling, with even more surprise in his eyes. "Director Chen, I just learned last night that my wife has depression, so I came here to ask about her situation." Listening to Chen Beiwang's words, Chen Guangming suddenly laughed, and it was a very happy laugh. "Chen Beiwang can't do this, what are you laughing at? It seems that Yixue's illness can be cured." This sentence made Chen Beiwang even more confused. "Director Chen, please explain it more clearly. I'm a little confused. Since you are Yixue's husband, let me ask you, have you ever had sex together?" Chen Beiwang shook his head. "We just got married, not yet." "Hurry up and share the room." Chen Guangming's words controlled Chen Beiwang. "What does her depression have to do with sex?" Chen Guangming calmly explained, "Yixue is still a virgin. Did you know this?" Chen Beiwang nodded, and there seemed to be some enlightenment in his eyes. Think about it, a 40-year-old woman who has never been comforted by a man in 40 years, regardless of whether she wants to do so, this will definitely affect the normal hormone levels in her body, right? Chen Beiwang's mouth twitched, and he asked in disbelief, so, a big reason for my wife's depression is because she's a virgin. Chen Guangming nodded heavily, yes, humans are divided into males and females. Since these two genders exist, there must be a certain degree of complementarity between them. Yishui has always been alone, never been favored by men, never enjoyed the joy of love, coupled with the various pressures and negative emotions from work and life, which accumulated and evolved into what she is today. As long as she has sex, her illness will be cured, and her mental state will get better day by day. When Chen Beiwang walked out of the hospital, he was still a little dazed. It was a very inexplicable feeling, somewhat happy, somewhat excited, and also somewhat nonsensical. Who would have thought that a woman's depression could be caused by this reason? But how should I bring this up to Xu Yishui? Or drag her to see Chen Guangming again? Wouldn't that tell her that he had secretly come to the hospital without her knowledge? She herself was suffering from depression, and Chen Beiwang swore last night that he did not take depression seriously, but she secretly came to the hospital the next day. Once this kind of thinking takes root in Xu Yishui's heart, no matter what anyone says or how much she explains, it will be useless and she will just fall into a vicious circle. Chapter 16, The Sick Ex-Girlfriend. After thinking for a long time, Chen Beiwang finally sighed helplessly. As long as depression is handled properly, there is no risk, so it is better not to rush into it. He finally decided to take a gradual approach, and once everything was in place, things would naturally fall into place, and there was no need to rush. After thinking this through, Chen Beiwang planned to go to the parking lot and drive away, but he suddenly stopped, frowned slightly and looked towards the distance. There, Lin Royue had just walked into the hospital gate. Even though she was wearing a mask, Chen Beiwang was very familiar with her after 8 years of love. The clothes she was wearing now were bought for her by Chen Beiwang. What is Lin Royue doing in the hospital? And she was alone, without even anyone to accompany her? Chen Beiwang was a little curious. Lin Royue's personality was such that she really liked doing things together and was extremely disgusted with being alone. For example, she would never go out alone, such as shopping, watching movies, and eating. Since Chen Beiwang didn't have time, she contacted her sisters. But now she came to Jingxi People's Hospital alone, and judging from her hurried steps, she was obviously a little anxious. You didn't bring any companions with you. Is there some secret that you don't want anyone to know? Chen Beiwang wanted to turn around and leave, but when he thought about the 8 years of relationship, he realized that he was a flesh and blood creature after all. What if something happened to Lin Royue? Thinking of this, he turned back again and followed quietly. Lin Royue went to the consultation desk first. Chen Beiwang was not far behind her and could clearly hear her conversation with the nurse. Hello, which floor is the obstetrics and gynecology department on? It's on the 8th floor. You can take the elevator up. Okay, thanks. Watching Lin Royue rushing to the elevator, Chen Beiwang frowned tightly. Obstetrics and gynecology. Is she pregnant? But that doesn't make sense. Chen Beiwang thought back and realized that Lin Royue cheated on him about a week ago. Then she disappeared, and Chen Beiwang couldn't contact her. He then completely confirmed the fact that she was cheated on. Finally, he got drunk in the bar and achieved enlightenment. It's only been 6 or 7 days since today, how is it possible to get pregnant? Chen Beiwang was even more curious, so he immediately took another elevator and went straight to the 8th floor. It's just that he came up a little late, and because of the huge crowd, he lost sight of Lin Royue for a moment. However, Chen Beiwang did not give up and kept searching in every department, but he never saw anyone. Chen Beiwang was extremely puzzled. The obstetrics and gynecology department was so small. Could it be that Lin Royue had flown away? Wrong. Chen Beiwang's heart suddenly tightened and he turned around abruptly to look at the distant corridor. There are 2 sides when you come out of the elevator. One corridor is where Chen Beiwang is standing now. This place is full of pregnant women with big bellies who come for checkups or to make appointments for abortion surgery. The other side is different. It also belongs to obstetrics and gynecology, but it is used to treat diseases. Could it be? Could it be? Chen Beiwang immediately walked to the corridor on the other side, and soon he found Lin Royue. At this time, the woman had just walked out of a department. She was still wearing a mask, but it was not difficult to see that her face was pale, her eyes were dull, and she walked like a walking corpse. She obviously didn't notice Chen Beiwang and continued to stagger forward. "What are you doing in the obstetrics and gynecology department?" Suddenly, Chen Beiwang's voice startled her. When she looked up and saw that it was her ex-boyfriend, she suddenly panicked and subconsciously protected the diagnosis sheet in her hand behind her back. "Beiwang? Why are you in the obstetrics and gynecology department?" Lin Royue quickly adjusted her mood, then a smile appeared in the corner of her eyes and she asked softly, "Are you ill?" Chen Beiwang glanced at the department that Lin Royue walked out of. There was a sign hanging on it that read, "Bacteriology Room." Chen Beiwang, who was originally a medical practitioner, immediately realized that Lin Royue must be ill. "I just don't know if it's just a common inflammation or an infectious disease that scares people into quitting the CCP." After listening to Chen Beiwang's words, Lin Royue's breathing stagnated, and then she pretended to be calm and smiled. "It may be a period thing, some inflammation, I'll be fine after taking some medicine." After saying that, Lin Royue was about to leave, but was grabbed by Chen Beiwang. What are you doing?" Lin Royue was the kind of person who cared very much about her reputation, so when faced with Chen Beiwang's tyranny, she didn't dare to shout or scream. She could only try to break free with her face red in anxiety. Chen Beiwang didn't give Lin Royue any chance. He snatched the diagnosis report and checked it. "Syphilis, stage 1. The 4 particularly obvious words made Chen Beiwang subconsciously let go of his hand. "Give it back to me." Lin Royue snatched back the diagnosis sheet, her face turned pale again, and she leaned against the wall in the corridor, trembling. "Is it that old fat pig?" Chen Beiwang remained calm, but a little frightened. He tried hard to recall the last time he slept with Lin Royue. He was afraid that they had been having an affair and he would be infected. But after thinking about it carefully, Chen Beiwang felt relieved. It had been almost half a year since the last time they slept together. Because the two of them had been arguing more and more in the past 6 months, Lin Royue became increasingly dissatisfied with her current life. The two of them hardly talked to each other at home every day, let alone having sex. Half a year had passed, and Chen Beiwang firmly believed that Lin Royue had not done anything to let him down at that time. When Chen Beiwang mentioned that person, Lin Royue nodded miserably. "He's just a jerk. He took my body with a meal from a high-end Western restaurant and a bouquet of flowers, then disappeared without a trace, but he infected me with this disease." Although Lin Royue didn't want to reveal these things, syphilis broke down her psychological defenses. Facing the man she had been with for 8 years, her tears finally burst out. Chen Beiwang didn't expect that the fat man who looked so prosperous and like a wealthy man was actually a sex scammer. Poor idiotic woman like Lin Royue, she really thought she could live a luxurious life by hooking up with a rich man. Just as she said, a meal and a bouquet of flowers took away Lin Royue's body. To put it bluntly, not only did she get nothing, she also got sick. This kind of terrible and bloody plot can only happen to a woman like Lin Royue. She thought she was very smart and that she could play with men like toys in her hands, but she didn't know that her distorted economic concept had already ruined her. Chen Beiwang didn't know what to say at this moment. To be precise, there was no wavering in his heart. He just stood there and looked at Lin Royue calmly, letting her sob softly. "So you went to work at Shankar Trading Company, Limited really for me?" Only then did Chen Beiwang realize that she must have remembered his kindness again and was trying to appear in front of him again. Lin Royue nodded slightly, then stood up excitedly. "Beiwang, I know I don't deserve your forgiveness in my current state, but syphilis can be cured, so you don't have to be afraid, and don't despise me. But I beg you, don't spread this matter. You think too much." Chen Beiwang said lightly. "I'm not that despicable. You can handle this matter yourself. Besides, whether you are cured or not has nothing to do with me." After that, in Lin Royue's petrified gaze, Chen Beiwang left in style. Chapter 17. Join forces to get the order. Chen Beiwang was not in a hurry to leave the hospital, but instead registered for a thorough full-body examination. Although he was sure that nothing had happened to him, scientific methods were ultimately more practical. Only when the test results came out did he feel completely relieved. Looking over his body, Chen Beiwang's biggest illness was rhinitis, which he contracted when he first moved to Beijing. "There's no way, I'm not used to the local climate and water." As for Lin Royue's syphilis, Chen Beiwang also put it out of his mind. It could be cured anyway, and it was her own fault. I came to the hospital to care about my wife's condition. Other things have nothing to do with me. Chen Beiwang went to work as usual, but his mind was full of Xu Yishui's depression. Now we know what the good medicine is, but the question is how to give it to Xu Yishui? What are you daydreaming about? At this time, Li Chunxing came over slyly, nudged the dazed Chen Beiwang with his elbow, and then said mysteriously, I have found out the reason why Lin Royue came to work in our company. Chen Beiwang was shocked. Could it be that Li Chunxing knew about the syphilis? He never doubted Li Chunxing's ability in this area. This guy was born and raised in Longju. He was loyal and heroic, and his mind was quick and sharp. He knew a lot of people from all walks of life. As long as he is determined to ask the people around him, he will always be able to find some information. What do you mean? Chen Beiwang remained calm and asked back. It's the fat old pig who was trying to steal your girl. I heard he disappeared. Li Chunxing had a look of revenge on his face. He used a meal and a bunch of flowers to get Lin Royue to bed, but in the end, Lin Royue got nothing. So I concluded that Lin Royue came to work in our company just for you. She wants to get back together with you. TSK. This guy is really good. Chen Beiwang admired in his heart that she was worthy of being someone he could play with. He directly deduced the purpose of Lin Royue coming to work in the company. But it's a good thing that the syphilis issue was not leaked. Although Chen Beiwang's breakup with Lin Royue was inglorious, he still didn't want Lin Royue to be involved in too many rumors. The main thing is that she doesn't mind bearing all this. Chen Beiwang doesn't want to be implicated. It's okay for you to be ruined, but it's not okay for you to ruin me as well. Seeing Chen Beiwang standing there in a daze without saying a word, Li Chunxing couldn't help but feel a little anxious. Beiwang, you don't really want to get back together with her, do you? What a joke! Chen Beiwang shook his head decisively. If I can forgive her even though she cheated on me, then I would be the worst offender in the world. Besides, I'm a married man now, so I don't want to do those unnecessary things. Chen Beiwang didn't say the last sentence because he was afraid that Li Chunxing wouldn't be able to accept it. Okay, stop thinking about outsiders. It has nothing to do with us. Chen Beiwang turned the computer screen towards Li Chunxing and said, I have a project here. Can we work on it together? What? Give me a share of the bonus. Li Chunxing refused without even looking at him. Come on, just eat your cake. Now that you're single, all the money you earn is yours. Enjoy it. Take a look before you start talking nonsense. Chen Beiwang cursed speechlessly, causing Li Chunxing to look at the screen. The next second, he was suddenly stunned. Qingyang supermarket chain. When did our company expect to cooperate with this party? Qingyang Chain Supermarket is a relatively famous local supermarket in Longju. It is quite large, with an estimated 20 to 30 physical stores. The main business system is tobacco and alcohol, which are supplemented by drinks, snacks, etc. The configuration is not complete, but it is well known and affordable, so it is considered to make a lot of money. I just received a task notice recently. I thought it was worthwhile, so I took it. You happened to be on a business trip, so you didn't know about it. Listening to Chen Beiwang's words, Li Chunxing frowned. This is a hard bone, not easy to chew. I know it's a tough one, so I dragged you along. It just so happens that you just came back from a business trip and there's no business for the time being, so you're pretty free. Chen Beiwang smiled and said, as the saying goes, if you don't make money, you're a bastard. As long as we take over the Qingyang supermarket chain, we probably won't have to open for 2 months. Tell me the details. Li Chunxing was obviously interested. Our company recently reached a cooperation with a wine merchant from another province to introduce a batch of southwestern wines into Longju, but we can't find an offline distribution point for the time being, so we have set our sights on selling them in well-known local supermarkets. As long as the Qingyang supermarket chain agrees to let us put Southwest wine on the shelves, this will be a success. And think about it, the Qingyang supermarket chain has nearly 30 stores in total, and each store is considered a small order. The final bonus. Li Chunxing's eyes suddenly lit up. Are there 13 or 14? Chen Beiwang smiled and shook his head when he heard that, then held up 2 fingers, guaranteed 20. Hiss tilde. Li Chunxing took a deep breath. This meant that the store would not be open for more than 2 months. It would take half a year or even less than a year to open. After all, their monthly basic salary is only 5,000 yuan. Damn. Don't worry, you have to plan it well, so as not to miss the opportunity. The two of them spent all their energy on this project for the entire afternoon, so much so that when Lin Royue came to the company at around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, neither of them noticed. When Lin Royue saw Chen Beiwang, her heart thumped visibly and her expression became a little unnatural. Although based on her understanding of Chen Beiwang, the latter is not the kind of person who would take advantage of others' misfortune, but who can say anything good about such things? After all, he was the one who cheated on her first, so it is understandable that Chen Beiwang really wanted to take revenge. However, Chen Beiwang's attention was obviously not on her. He was only concerned with dealing with official business with Li Chunxing. Instead, Lin Royue sat at her workstation, looking at Chen Beiwang from time to time, with 3 parts of timidity and 7 parts of tenderness in her eyes. Yeah, what are you doing? Just then, the fly appeared. Yu Jiaowei came over with an eager smile on his face and placed a cup of hot milk tea in front of Lin Royue. New product, try it. Lin Royue's expression tensed. She came to Shankar Trading Company, Limited to get back together with Chen Beiwang. Faced with other men's attentions, she naturally wanted to avoid them. What's more, men like Yu Jiaowei were not the type she was interested in at all. But then again, she likes to establish her own character. Thank you, Teruki. Lin Royue responded with a sweet smile, which immediately made Yu Jiaowei very happy. So he immediately took the initiative to invite you. Yeah, after get off work tonight, I'll treat you to a meal. By the way, I'll tell you about the internal situation of the company, so that you can better integrate into it. This grandson still has some brains. If he invites her directly, it will definitely give people a chance to talk nonsense, and Lin Royue may even politely refuse. But as long as he adds a legitimate reason, the possibility will naturally increase a lot. Chapter 18 Licking Dog Yu Jiaowei. When Yu Jiaowei invited Lin Royue to dinner, many colleagues nearby pricked up their ears. Everyone has a gossipy heart, let alone such a hot drama between an ex and a pursuer in the workplace. Hey, this grandson is so shameless. Li Chunxing naturally also heard the conversation between the two, and immediately sneered and spoke to Chen Beiwang. This time he was not angry and wanted to confront or fight. The main reason was that he saw that Chen Beiwang had really let go of Lin Royue. In addition, Lin Royue came to the company with the intention of getting back together, so at this moment, he looked at Yu Jiaowei as if he were a clown, and naturally he had no intention of speaking up for his brother. It doesn't matter, we just need to save our face. Chen Beiwang smiled casually, then stood up and walked towards the bathroom. Seeing this, Li Chunxing hurriedly followed. Lin Royue, who was still hesitating, saw Chen Beiwang and the other man get up and leave. She thought the latter was angry, so she smiled bitterly and said, "Sorry, Jiaowei, I'm moving recently. Let's go later." The rejection in these words was extremely obvious, and it also caused many colleagues to murmur and laugh at Yu Jiaowei. But Yu Jiaowei was the only one who didn't hear it like a fool. He hurriedly said, "Let me help you move. I happen to be free at night." "That's really not necessary. I've already found a moving company, and I have a few sisters with me." Lin Royue remained polite and friendly with a smile on her face, but she was actually a little angry inside. Is this person a fool? He can't even hear such an obvious rejection. Seeing this, Yu Jiaowei could only touch his nose in dismay, then smiled awkwardly and said, "Okay, if you need me, just let me know." A group of colleagues watched Yu Jiaowei leave awkwardly and laughed quietly. This is what is called a bootlicker, and a pure-blooded one at that. At this moment, Chen Beiwang and Li Chunxing were smoking in the bathroom, and then they saw Yu Jiaowei walking in with a gloomy face. He was also stunned when he saw the two of them, then he snorted coldly and walked to the other side to light a cigarette. Chen Beiwang was too lazy to pay attention to this grandson and chatted with Li Chunxing. The latter said, "I plan to go there tonight to check out Xingyang chain." Big head. Chen Beiwang interrupted Li Chunxing in time, and the latter suddenly reacted and glanced at Yu Jiaowei who was smoking. This grandson always likes to do things that harm others and benefit himself, so it is better not to let him know about this project, otherwise who knows what trouble will arise. Yu Jiaowei appeared calm on the surface, but he was actually quite surprised inside. What are these two planning? He really wanted to hear more news, but the two of them just kept silent. Although he was curious, he could do nothing but leave. "We will carry out the Xingyang project in secret, and other colleagues will also keep it secret to prevent Yu Jiawei from knowing the situation. Chen Beiwang found an opportunity to give Li Chunxing some advice, and the two of them understood each other very well, and then waited until the end of get off work. Don't ask for information tonight, just follow me first. Chen Beiwang stopped Li Chunxing, who was about to leave, at the entrance of the building, and then took him to the parking lot while the latter looked puzzled. Huh? You bought a car? Li Chunxing was delighted. I never thought you could save some money while you were dating Lin Royue. Upon hearing this, Chen Beiwang just smiled without saying anything, then took Li Chunxing to stop in front of the DBS. Old Mater. However, Li Chunxing's attention was on the old black Magetan next to the DBS. He smiled and nodded, not bad, although the old Volkswagen has more minor problems, the Magetan is still a good car. How many tens of thousands did you pay for it? The Magetan is good, but it is not worthy of the nobility of you and me, brothers. Chen Beiwang grinned and sat on the hood of the DBS. This scene immediately frightened Li Chunxing, and he quickly pulled him up and said, "Are you crazy? What if you damage someone's car? This is a fucking DBS. We can't even afford it even if we sell both of us." As he spoke, Li Chunxing took a few more glances at this exceptionally gorgeous DBS, with expectation clearly revealed in his eyes. There is no man who doesn't love cars, let alone this top sports car. Although it is not as good as those pedigree supercars that cost tens of millions, it is also not a luxury toy that ordinary people can easily get. But he also understood that this car would never be part of his and his brother's future. But the next second, his eyes suddenly widened. Because the DBS's pair of headlights slowly lit up. Then, he turned his neck somewhat stiffly and his eyes fell on Chen Beiwang, who was holding a car key with a smile on his face. This car. Li Chunxing temporarily lost the ability to speak. His eyes flickered back and forth between Chen Beiwang and DBS, his expression of shock beyond words. It's mine, then. Chen Beiwang originally wanted to say that this was his car, but the owner was his wife and the car was not in his name, so it was not rigorous enough. However, his words made Li Chunxing suddenly feel disappointed. You rented it. Do you want to experience the youth of owning a luxury car? Get in the car first and I'll take you for a ride. Seeing that there were many people here, Chen Beiwang did not explain much. Li Chunxing also got on the passenger seat excitedly. No matter where the car comes from, just experience it first. As the DBS roared along the ring road, Li Chunxing's face was filled with excitement as he touched and looked at the car here and there. Then Chen Beiwang drove the car to the far suburbs and found a very open concrete site. Come on, try it. After saying that, Chen Beiwang got out of the car and dragged Li Chunxing to the driver's seat in front of Li Chunxing's astonished eyes. What is a brother? When you own a luxury car for the first time, you should not only take your brothers for a ride, but also give them the opportunity to drive it themselves. Chen Beiwang will never forget the help Li Chunxing has given him over the past 3 years. Without him, I wouldn't be able to survive in Beijing. Step on the gas, as hard as you can. Accompanied by Chen Beiwang's shout, Li Chunxing started the car. With a beast-like roar, the car sped away from the ground. During the entire driving process, Li Chunxing never stopped shouting excitedly, and his face even turned red due to excessive excitement. He loves this 12-cylinder performance beast. Fuck, is this the charm that money brings? No, once I get Xingyang's order, I'll rent it for 2 days and take you out to play. This car is not rented, it was given to me by my wife. Squeak. The DBS braked suddenly and stopped on the spot, leaving long tire marks on its rear. Li Chunxing turned his head in surprise and looked at Chen Beiwang, who was smiling in the passenger seat. Wife. You just broke up with Lin Royue and you hooked up with a rich woman. Big head, your words are not precise enough. The smile on Chen Beiwang's face grew wider. Dude is married now, is there anything wrong with calling me wife? Chapter 19, I am afraid of my brother's suffering, but I am also afraid of my brother driving a Land Rover. Li Chunxing suddenly felt that his clever brain was not enough. How did the word married person come to Chen Beiwang? He has been in love for 8 years. I just broke up with him a week ago. Wait a minute. Li Chunxing held his temples with both hands. I'm a little down, please give me some time. Chen Beiwang just looked at Li Chunxing with a smile, without interrupting, just waiting quietly. After a moment, Li Chunxing spoke again. You mean, you're married? Chen Beiwang nodded. Is it like the couples in the game getting married or something? Without saying a word, Chen Beiwang took out the little red book from the armrest box. Fuck you. Li Chunxing was stunned when he saw the little red book. He quickly opened it and checked. Your wife's name is Shui Shui? How come I have never heard of this name? We just met by chance and got married quickly. Chen Beiwang couldn't explain too much and could only say this. It took him 2 days of careful consideration before he decided to tell Li Chunxing about this matter. Not for anything else, he just wanted to lead his good brother to a better life. Soon, Li Chunxing found another bright spot on the marriage certificate. 40 years old. Damn, you really found a rich woman. She is old, but she bought a DBS for Chen Beiwang. Isn't she a definitely rich woman? Don't be so harsh, we are a legal couple. Chen Beiwang shook his head and laughed, then told the whole story that he now lived in a villa, drove a luxury car, and had a pocket money of 100,000 yuan every month. Li Chunxing was almost crying. Dude, I really want to take you in the car. Gun. I am afraid that my brothers are living well, and I am also afraid that they are living too well. Ding tilde. At this time, Chen Beiwang received a WeChat message on his mobile phone. It was from Shui Shui. My wife has news. Chen Beiwang unlocked his phone and opened WeChat, and Li Chunxing came over with a curious look on his face. I saw the note was a wife, and the message from the other party was, are you off work? Chen Beiwang simply sent a voice message in reply, wife, I'm near our home, and I'm bringing my colleagues with me. How about we have dinner together at home tonight? Before Chen Beiwang could put down his phone, a reply message came. Just one word, good. Chen Beiwang looked at Shui Shui's answer in surprise. He thought the other party would hesitate for a long time, but he didn't expect her to agree so quickly. Little did he know that Shui Shui, who was sitting on the sofa at home at this moment, rushed to the bedroom on the second floor to clean up. She was never afraid of socializing, especially integrating into Chen Beiwang's social circle. She was only afraid of Chen Beiwang's parents. Moreover, in Shui Shui's view, Chen Beiwang taking his colleagues home for dinner was undoubtedly a way of introducing himself in a legitimate way. So this also made Shui Shui a little happy. Okay, come home with me tonight for dinner, and I'll let you meet my wife. Chen Beiwang smiled and spoke to Li Chunxing, but unexpectedly the latter shook his head and refused. No, I won't go. What's the matter? I'm 40 years old, rich, and looking for a 25-year-old guy like you to marry. Li Chunxing began to express his opinions. Your partner must be disabled, must be 1.2 meters tall, and half of his body must be his buttocks. The tank is thicker than the tank, and the rest is just the waist except for the butt. Your partner must be a man with fangs, hooves and claws, like the goblins in Dungeon Fighter, holding a big stick and carrying a basket of stones on his back, and throwing stones at you at any time. Seeing Li Chunxing gritting his teeth, Chen Beiwang suddenly felt like he couldn't laugh anymore. No, I'm going to pull you into the car now. Li Chunxing was so angry that he was about to take off his pants, but was kicked down by Chen Beiwang. Stop nagging me, come home with me and you'll know what my wife looks like. I won't go. I'm afraid I'll step on her. I'm afraid I'll watch your wife perform a set of fake swordsmanship on her. Although Li Chunxing expressed his reluctance, he was still dragged into the car by Chen Beiwang and headed straight for the villa area. Humph, haunted house. Li Chunxing looked at the exquisitely located villa complex and couldn't help but start again. It must have been used by a dead person. It's cheap and hard to sell. It's used to trick poor people like you. Chen Beiwang didn't bother to pay attention to the jealous guy. He drove the car directly into the garage and dragged him in. Wife, I'm back. Chen Beiwang shouted, and then he saw the kitchen door open and Shui Shui came out wearing an apron. Wife, how did you cook? Chen Beiwang asked in surprise, but he was actually quite excited inside. Where could he find such a sensible wife? If you bring your colleagues back for dinner, I will naturally prepare dinner. Shui Shui smiled generously and looked at Li Chunxing, who was completely petrified. Hello. Hello, hello. Li Chunxing was really dumbfounded. Even though he talked a lot on their way here, he was actually giving himself psychological comfort. After all, a 40-year-old old woman who is still rich must have some flaws no matter how you think about it. Either figure or appearance. He was afraid that he would be frightened after seeing the real person and thus ruin his brother's good deeds, so he prepared himself mentally. But the blow came too fast. The woman in front of him, Even though Li Chun has lived for 25 years and has been through many flowers, no one can compare to her. That stunning appearance, unparalleled figure, plus outstanding temperament, isn't this a perfect killer physique? What is a killer physique? Crush all the same sex. And just looking at her like this, she doesn't look like she's 40 years old at all. Wife, his name is Li Chunshen, nicknamed Big Head. I met him when I first came to Longju 3 years ago. He has helped me a lot in the past 3 years and is my best brother. Xu Yixue, who had been keeping calm, suddenly became a little restrained when she heard Chen Beiwang say this. No wonder Chen Beiwang took her so seriously and took the initiative to bring his family to meet her. Thank you for taking care of him for the past 3 years. Xu Yixue bowed solemnly to express her gratitude, but this scene frightened Li Chunshen. He could neither offer his hand to help nor refuse. He just kept mumbling like a dumb person, unable to utter a single word. Chen Beiwang looked at the scene with a little amusement, then pulled Li Chunshen towards the kitchen. Come on, don't be nervous. Come cook with me. Xu Yixue was slightly stunned when she saw this. He is a guest, it's not good to ask him to cook, right? It's okay. I don't treat him as an outsider. Chen Beiwang responded with a smile and closed the kitchen door. As the door closed, Chen Beiwang heard a thud. When he turned around, he found that Li Chunshen had already kneeled on the ground. Godfather, please accept my greetings. Please teach me your professional knowledge, my stomach is really not in good condition. Chen Beiwang shook his head helplessly. What are you doing, envious? Unexpectedly, Li Chunshen denied it and looked at Chen Beiwang with a sad face. Fuck you, I really want to strangle you to death. Chapter 20, The Gentle Wife Who Loves Details. How could he not be envious? Li Chunshen felt like his heart was about to break. The term, rich woman, is really not suitable for Xu Yixue, because she is not even close to being a rich woman. This is clearly a wealthy older sister. Moreover, she has a beautiful appearance and a great figure, a top sister who is 1 in a million. So much so that while eating, Li Chunshen's chopsticks made a crackling sound when he bit them, and then Xu Yixue asked a great question. Do you like eating with chopsticks? This simple sentence made Li Chunshen feel ashamed, and Chen Beiwang laughed so hard that he fell backwards. He is simply jealous that I have found such a good wife, so he is gnashing his teeth in hatred. Listening to Chen Beiwang's words, Xu Yixue's pretty face flushed slightly. It was obvious that being praised in front of outsiders made her feel both shy and happy. After finishing his meal, Li Chunshen planned to leave. He didn't want to disturb his brother's world of two. Chen Beiwang didn't force him to stay and planned to send Li Chunshen home. Okay, I'll take a taxi back by myself, you should stay with your good wife. Standing at the gate of the courtyard, Li Chunshen stared at Chen Beiwang with an angry look on his face, his tone full of deliberate sourness. By the way, Big Head, don't tell anyone about my marriage. Li Chunshen nodded in understanding. Don't worry, how could I possibly disclose your privacy to others? No wonder you said you would let go of Lin Royue, but now you are so hated. After saying this, Li Chunshen didn't stay any longer. He waved his hand and walked out of the community. Chen Beiwang stopped and watched for a moment, then walked into the villa with a smile. Xu Yixue was washing dishes, and she didn't seem to think that it was wrong for women to do these things. Honey, let me do it. Chen Beiwang walked over to Xu Yixue and took over the bowl and chopsticks, and said, Are you going shopping tomorrow? Because of the Qingyang chain supermarket project, Chen Beiwang and Li Chunshen took 2 days off before getting off work today. They need time to understand the specific situation of Qingyang supermarket and then prescribe the right medicine. However, to find out the situation, one person is enough. Chen Beiwang selflessly handed the matter over to Li Chunshen, so he naturally had a lot of free time tomorrow. Why do you suddenly want to go shopping? Xu Yixue asked, somewhat confused. Go shopping to relax and buy some daily necessities. Chen Beiwang pointed at the dishes and chopsticks with a smile. It will be convenient to buy a dishwasher. Xu Yixue only thought about it for a moment before agreeing. Okay, then I'll arrange things for tomorrow's work first. Although Chen Beiwang still doesn't know what his wife does, he is not curious and has never asked. In his eyes, if Xu Yixue wanted to say something, she would take the initiative to tell him. After washing the dishes, Chen Beiwang sat on the sofa and began to think about business. What's the matter? How to use their good medicine naturally. Xu Yixue, on the other hand, was busy working with her laptop, and the couple didn't disturb each other. But soon, Shu Yixue felt something was wrong, because Chen Beiwang was too quiet. He didn't watch TV or play with his phone. He just sat there in a daze. What's on your mind? It's okay. I'm just thinking about the company project. Chen Beiwang laughed and brushed the matter off. Suddenly, his eyes lit up. Honey, would you like to drink something? Shu Yixue was slightly stunned. Why do you suddenly want to drink? It's a rare opportunity to have a day off tomorrow, and why don't we just celebrate our flash marriage? Chen Beiwang's excuses are quite reasonable, not exaggerated and not easily discovered. Seeing Chen Beiwang's high spirits, Shu Yixue did not spoil his fun, but agreed with a faint smile. You go buy the wine, I still have some work to deal with. Chen Beiwang got dressed without saying a word and went out. After drinking, wouldn't it be like taking their good medicine if he drank enough? Although the villa area is in the far suburbs, it has a large-scale market with complete supporting facilities, as well as convenience stores and so on, so Chen Beiwang quickly bought back wine and a lot of food. But when he put the things on the coffee table, Shu Yixue was a little dumbfounded. Shu Yixue had seen fried, grilled, and braised skewers, but had never eaten them. Seeing Shu Yixue's dazed expression, Chen Beiwang asked curiously, "What's wrong, wife?" Shu Yixue felt a little embarrassed when she heard this. I've never eaten these things before. Chen Beiwang was stunned. Never eaten it. Then he suddenly realized that from the few days of contact, Shu Yixue had obviously lived a life of luxury since childhood, and the braised food and fried skewers were indeed roadside stalls, so it was understandable that she had never eaten them. But then Chen Beiwang was in a dilemma. If his wife didn't want to eat, he couldn't just let her drink it, right? Shu Yixue obviously noticed Chen Beiwang's embarrassment and immediately asked softly, "Are these delicious?" Chen Beiwang nodded almost subconsciously. This thing is a standard for countless young people who stay up late. Anyone passing by may eat it. If it doesn't taste good, it can't exist forever. Well, I want to try it. Shu Yixue's words made Chen Beiwang stunned for a moment, and then he smiled warmly. My wife is really considerate and thoughtful of me in every way. Without saying a word, he took out a kebab of lamb, considerately removed the skewer, and then wrapped the meat in a small pancake. This is actually similar to barbecue, but the taste is different. One is smoked and grilled, and the other is fried in oil. Honey, you try it. After saying that, Chen Beiwang handed the small cake to Shu Yixue. The latter blushed a little because of the ambiguous act of feeding, but still opened her cherry mouth when she smelled the tempting meat aroma. With just one sip, Shu Yixue's beautiful eyes lit up slightly. It's quite delicious. Is that so? Chen Beiwang was so happy that he went out and bought so many delicious foods. It was not in vain after all. The two of them sat on the sofa and began to eat, drink, and chat. Wife, they say you girls don't eat after a certain time because you're afraid of getting fat, and you don't drink beer because you're afraid of getting a belly. Why aren't you afraid? The two had only known each other for a few days, and Shu Yixue had eaten late at night or in the middle of the night twice in a row. You have to know that before, Lin Royue would rather starve to death than eat anything after 10 o'clock in the evening, not even drink water, and she never touches alcohol. The most important thing was that she couldn't enjoy the delicious food and didn't let Chen Beiwang eat it, so much so that there were many times when Chen Beiwang came home from overtime and was so hungry that he almost fainted. After hearing this, Shu Yixue took the initiative to pick up a chicken leg, took a small bite and then gave an explanation. As long as you worry enough and exercise enough, you won't get fat. When Chen Beiwang heard this, he found it to be true. Losing weight is never achieved by dieting, but the key is a reasonable amount of exercise and physical and mental jewel keys. Chapter 21 Sleeping Together. After 3 rounds of drinks, Chen Beiwang was surprised to discover something. Shu Yixue can drink a lot. How specific is it? Next to the sofa at her feet were 13 empty beer bottles. Yes, she drank 13 bottles of beer alone. Chen Beiwang knew that Shu Yixue was pretending to be drunk last time, but he never thought about how much his wife could drink. But now, he had a rough idea of what was going on. Chen Beiwang's intuition told him that Shu Yixue's alcohol tolerance might not be worse than his. Chen Beiwang has been able to drink since he was a child. In addition, he has been working in Beijing for 3 years and has participated in many drinking parties for work reasons, so his drinking capacity has become quite impressive. Look, the two of them just drank equally, and Chen Beiwang also drank 13 bottles of beer. Based on his understanding of himself, he estimated that 23 or 4 bottles would be his limit. Of course, this is just beer. Foreign liquor, red wine, and white wine are another matter. But he never expected that his wife was also a heavy drinker. But judging from Xu Yishui's expression, she obviously had too much. This also made Chen Beiwang feel a little relieved. If he couldn't drink more than her, how could he use their good medicine? Bang! Finally, after Xu Yishui drank the 15th bottle of beer, she collapsed on the sofa. The sexy nightgown was a little messy and could no longer cover her sexy white thighs and a pair of breasts in front of her. Husband. The drunk Xu Yishui once again called out the name that she didn't dare to say when she was sober. This also made Chen Beiwang a little confused. Because last time Xu Yishui pretended to be drunk, she drastically changed her usual elegant and cool appearance, and even asked me to call her wife or something like that. Is he pretending to be drunk this time too? Or does Xu Yishui become like this whenever she is under the influence of alcohol? Chen Beiwang couldn't judge for a moment, so he didn't dare to make any excessive movements. He could only move closer to Xu Yishui, who also stretched out her snow-white feet and placed them on Chen Beiwang's thighs. My feet are cold. After hearing this, Chen Beiwang pulled the blanket on the sofa, wrapped his feet, and then tested him softly. Honey, are you okay? Xu Yishui curled up on the sofa and hummed. How could she look like a 40-year-old woman? Her behavior, expression and tone are very much like a little girl in her early 20s. Wait a little longer. Chen Beiwang drank his wine by himself, planning to wait and see the specific situation of Xu Yishui. But at this moment, Xu Yishui staggered over and sat up, then, in Chen Beiwang's astonished eyes, threw herself into his arms. What made Chen Beiwang even more stiff was that Xu Yishui's pair of smooth and cold hands reached into his clothes from under his back and hugged him tightly. Dry. Chen Beiwang's breathing became a little heavier. If he continued like this, it would not be a matter of whether he wanted to help his wife with treatment, but he would be the first to lose control. Husband. At this time, Xu Yishui raised her head slightly, and her rosy face was right in front of Chen Beiwang. The woman's eyes were blurred but charming, and her long fluttering hair showed her unique charm. Husband, dear. Having said that, Xu Yishui directly hit Chen Beiwang on the mouth, and the latter became completely stiff. Even though he had Lin Royue before him and was quite experienced, his mind still went blank when this legitimate wife took the initiative to kiss him. The feeling was different. Xu Yishui's cherry lips were just like her hands and feet, icy cold and with a hint of alcohol. Her tongue, like a tiny red snake, was moving crazily in Chen Beiwang's mouth. The primitive impulse overcame Chen Beiwang's reason at this moment. He resolutely picked up Xu Yishui and strode upstairs to their master bedroom. Laying him down on the bed, Chen Beiwang took a deep breath, then turned around and walked into the bathroom. He wants to take a nice shower. Unfortunately, as he was taking a shower, he gradually calmed down and suddenly realized that what he was doing was somewhat inhumane. Xu Yishui is his legal wife. If they really want to have sex, why do they need the assistance of external objects? Moreover, if I do this while Xu Yishui is not sober, will Xu Yishui hate me after she sobers up? Alas, you can't use dirty tricks. Chen Beiwang sighed, wiped the water off his body and walked out of the bathroom. At this time he found that Xu Yishui had fallen asleep, and this time she was really fast asleep. Her subtle breathing and snoring movements proved that Xu Yishui was sleeping soundly. She tilted her face to the side like Sleeping Beauty, and her all-round, beautiful face looked so moving and beautiful at this moment. Chen Beiwang stared at it for a moment, then smiled gently. It's better to fall asleep so that I won't be dominated by primitive impulses again. But we can't do that, but at least we can sleep together, right? Chen Beiwang laughed and closed the door of the master bedroom. The next morning, Chen Beiwang, who was still asleep, was suddenly awakened by a loud scream. He rolled over and fell off the bed with a thud, but luckily there was a blanket underneath so he wasn't hurt. At this time, Xu Yishui was staring at Chen Beiwang with a nervous and blushing face, and she was holding the quilt in front of her with both hands. Because when she woke up just now, she found that she was naked except for her underwear. What did you do to me? Xu Yishui was really angry this time. She thought about Chen Beiwang's initiative to drink last night and immediately understood. Chen Beiwang climbed out of the bed. The sudden shock made him feel dizzy. Wife, I didn't do anything. Did you already have that thing with me? Chen Beiwang was stunned, then he realized that Shu Ishui was covering her view with a quilt, and her nightgown was on the ground. Honey, calm down, nothing happened between us. Chen Beiwang stood up immediately and pointed at his pants. Look, I haven't even taken off my pants. And there's no red on the sheets, so I really didn't touch you. Chen Beiwang was explaining while screaming in his heart that it was dangerous. Fortunately, I didn't really do it last night, otherwise we might have turned from husband and wife into enemies. After hearing Chen Beiwang say this, Shu Ishui gradually calmed down, and then a hint of embarrassment appeared on her face. She also suddenly remembered that the handsome young man in front of her was her legitimate husband. And my reaction was so violent, I guess I must have hurt his feelings, right? As expected, Shu Ishui felt a pain in her heart when she saw Chen Beiwang standing there with a bitter face and looking extremely depressed. My tone was too harsh just now, sorry. Shu Ishui didn't know why she felt heartbroken, but she couldn't bear to see Chen Beiwang looking aggrieved and disappointed. But Chen Beiwang didn't really think so. He just felt that he had done nothing wrong last night. Seeing Shu Ishui suddenly apologize, he couldn't help but smile. Why apologize? If I really took advantage of someone, you would be angry. After all, I didn't get your consent. Don't worry, honey. I don't blame you at all. Chapter 22, From now on, I will take you on a trip. On the surface, Chen Beiwang was laughing and comforting Shu Ishui, but in fact, he was sighing slightly in his heart. It's not that he sighed at Shu Ishui's vigilance towards him, but that the latter was living a little too cautiously. Just because of a wrong expression on her face, she immediately changed her attitude. This behavior of always caring about others is naturally caused by depression. Logically speaking, this kind of personality mostly appears in mediocre and unconfident people who think too much and worry too much. But given Shu Ishui's financial situation, age and experience, this shouldn't have happened. So it's easy to explain that her cautious appearance now is due to depression. This also made Chen Beiwang more determined to free him. He hopes that Shu Ishui can live a happier life and that she can truly have a complete life instead of being tortured by illness. Wife, hurry up and get up, we should go out. Chen Beiwang said this with a smile, then went back to the second bedroom to take a shower. This also made Chen Beiwang discover another advantage of Shu Ishui: she is not slow in doing things. In this society, most women will dress up carefully before going out, at least starting at 1 o'clock, and some even start putting on makeup and dressing up 3 or 4 o'clock in advance. But Shu Ishui had a good foundation and only wore light makeup, so she finished packing in just half an hour and left home with Chen Beiwang on the DBS. The two did not choose to eat at home. Since they said they were going out to go shopping and relax, they naturally had to do it in a comprehensive way. The two found a century-old breakfast shop. Fortunately, it was past the rush hour, so they didn't have to wait for a table, but there were still more than a dozen customers in the breakfast shop, which was over 100 square meters. With the appearance of Chen Beiwang and Shu Ishui, their eyes naturally fell on the two of them. The man is handsome and the woman is beautiful and elegant. They are a perfect match and are extremely eye-catching. In fact, if a stranger were to look at the two people, it would be difficult to tell whether there is a big age gap between them. Because boys tend to look mature when they reach a certain age, the 25-year-old Chen Beiwang, with his signature warm smile, gives people the feeling of a 30-year-old brother next door. As for Shu Ishui, no matter how you look at her, one can only guess that she is in her early 30s at most. Otherwise, how could they be a perfect match? Mom, that sister is so beautiful tilde. At this time, the child of the mother and son spoke timidly. He was only 3 or 5 years old, and his voice was childish and sincere. I want to find a beautiful sister like this to be my wife in the future tilde. The little boy's childish voice made the guests laugh. Shu Ishui even took out a lollipop from her bag and handed it to him with a smile. However, the little boy did not take it immediately. Instead, he turned to look at his mother with inquiring eyes. Since it's given to you by my sister, just take it. After getting his mother's approval, the little boy happily took the lollipop and said in a crisp voice, "Thank you, Sister Tilda. You're welcome. You're really sensible." Shu Ishui smiled and touched the boy's head, then sat down at another empty table with Chen Beiwang. "I didn't expect you to carry a lollipop with you." Chen Beiwang joked with a smile. He was a little surprised that Shu Ishui was eating lollipops at this age. Life is bitter, but we must always find some sweetness. Shu Ishui responded with a smile, which made Chen Beiwang agree very much. Moreover, Chen Beiwang discovered that Xu Yixue must like children very much. The smile she showed to the little boy just now was particularly sincere and pure. Where are we going first? During the meal, Xu Yixue was the first to ask questions. Let's go to the World Trade Center first. Chen Beiwang obviously had a plan in place. Let's go slowly from near to far. We have one day anyway. Xu Yixue did not refute Chen Beiwang's suggestion, giving people the impression that she fully respected her husband's wishes in public. The World Trade Center is only 3 blocks away from the breakfast shop where the two were having their meal. When they arrived here, the huge sea of people demonstrated the prosperity of the big city. The two of them wandered around aimlessly. Chen Beiwang took Xu Yixue to a small jewelry store and also to a relatively cheap clothing store, as if he was taking her to understand his own life. Xu Yixue never felt ashamed from beginning to end. Instead, she was full of novelty about these places she had never been to before. Wife, which cities in the south have you been to? Chen Beiwang handed an ice cream to Xu Yixue, and suddenly remembered this and asked curiously. Unexpectedly, Xu Yixue shook her head and said, I have never been to the south. This immediately stunned Chen Beiwang. The reason why he asked this was that in his mind, with Xu Yixue's financial strength, it should be normal for her to go to the south whether for work or for travel. Except for some cities around Longju, I have never been to any further away. Xu Yixue replied calmly, when we were dating before, they said they would travel with me, but before I thought it was time to travel, they left me. At this point, Xu Yixue's pretty face showed a hint of loneliness. All her exes were after her body and money. It can be said that there was no spiritual connection between them, and they were unable to make her experience what love is. Therefore, this kind of love with a strong purpose is obviously not likely to last long. Chen Beiwang nodded in understanding, and then a bright smile appeared on his face. It's okay. We'll go anywhere in the future. Xu Yixue raised her head slightly when she heard this. Her beautiful eyes met Chen Beiwang's for a moment, and she whispered, really? Don't put me in your shoes. Chen Beiwang obviously knew what Xu Yixue was worried about, and immediately reminded her, since you chose me to marry, you should know that my score is higher than theirs. Besides, we are a legal couple. Isn't it normal for me to travel with you in the future? Seeing Chen Beiwang's serious tone, Xu Yixue was obviously much happier and nodded heavily immediately. The two continued shopping and indeed bought a lot of daily necessities and household appliances. Although the villa is very nice, it was not popular in the past and Xu Yixue only stayed there occasionally, so it still lacked a lot of things. She went shopping today and bought everything at once. Of course, it was impossible for the two of them to carry such heavy bags while shopping, so Xu Yixue simply called for young men in suits. All 4 of them are good looking, and they look straight and smart in their suits. Mr. Xu. After seeing Xu Yixue, the 4 of them bowed in unison, looking extremely humble. It was obvious that they were Xu Yixue's subordinates. You transport these things to the Shishu Villa area and put them in the security room. When facing her subordinates, Xu Yixue no longer had that gentleness in her eyes, and her tone was just like when she first met Chen Beiwang, strong and capable. Chapter 23 Meet the old aunt again. Okay, Mr. Xu. The 4 of them were very obedient and started moving things. Seeing this, Chen Beiwang asked with a smile, Wife, are these all your men? The word, wife, made the 4 people stunned. Their expressions visibly became shocked, and then their eyes all turned to the young Chen Beiwang. Yes, they are all employees of my company. Xu Yixue seemed not to have noticed the shocked scene of her subordinates, and nodded in gentle voice in response. It was as if she didn't care whether her employees would spread the news after returning to the company, or she even wanted the company to know about her marriage. After a brief shock, the 4 employees quickly picked up their things and left, obviously a little afraid of their boss Xu Yixue. Why don't you ever ask me about the company? Seeing the employee walking away, Xu Yixue turned to look at Chen Beiwang and asked curiously. Why should I ask if you don't tell me? Chen Beiwang shrugged, I think this is the minimum respect for my wife. Xu Yixue nodded thoughtfully, and then said seriously, I run a real estate company, which has been listed and is valued at several billion. Although Chen Beiwang had long guessed that his wife's business was very large, he was still shocked when he heard the billions. Why does it feel like I'm seeing a female boss in a novel? Billions, no wonder a gigolo cost Xu Yixue more than 4 million in just 4 months. It turns out that in Xu Yixue's eyes, this little bit of money is not really money. Why are you telling me this? Do you want me to secretly find a way to seize your assets? Chen Beiwang joked with a smile. Unexpectedly, Xu Yixue shook her head and said, "No, you are not that kind of person." What kind of person? This time it was Chen Beiwang's turn to be curious. You are not someone who is after my money. Hearing this, Chen Beiwang shook his head and laughed. Wife, don't forget, we were able to get married because of the 100,000 yuan pocket money every month. I know, but that's how you make me feel. Xu Yixue's voice was gentle yet firm, as if she had not misjudged the person this time and had deep trust in Chen Beiwang. Chen Beiwang was obviously caught off guard and at the same time felt a little touched by this. Because Xu Yixue was right, he really didn't come here for the money, but if he was forced to give a specific reason, Chen Beiwang couldn't say it. It just feels like when he's with Xu Yixue, he doesn't feel as tired mentally. Cut. Of course, this did not prevent Chen Beiwang from continuing to tease Xu Yixue. I paid for all the things you bought just now. If I had known you were so rich, I wouldn't have spent that 100,000 yuan. It hurts me so much. You? Xu Yi's watery face flushed red. Of course, she knew that Chen Beiwang was joking on purpose, but since the conversation had come to this point, she had to continue. How about I raise it to 500,000 per month? Chen Beiwang almost dropped the ice cream in his hand. He waved his hands hastily. Don't worry, wife. 100,000 is very good. Too much money will have the opposite effect. Haven't you heard that men become bad when they have money? I'm afraid that 100,000 yuan is not enough for you. I'm not a money-eating beast. Isn't 100,000 a month enough for anything? Chen Beiwang said helplessly. Wife, don't mention this anymore. 100,000 yuan is more than enough. Okay then. Xu Yixue nodded obediently when she heard that, but she was actually relieved in her heart. She just spoke for the purpose of experimenting. If Chen Beiwang really couldn't resist the temptation and readily agreed to 500,000 yuan per month, then in Xu Yixue's eyes, this marriage would probably come to an end. But fortunately, Chen Beiwang held on. Yixue. At this time, a surprised call was heard. The two looked in the direction of their voice and saw a wealthy woman with an elegant and luxurious appearance standing not far away, followed by two bodyguards. Chen Beiwang's eyes widened when he saw this person, Auntie. Yes, this person was the woman who had approached him to act at the blind date corner, and was also the roamer mentioned by Xu Yixue. Roamer, why are you here? Xu Yixue was naturally very happy to see her old best friend, and she took the initiative to pull Chen Beiwang over. Seeing the two of them holding hands, Roamer smiled. TSK, what a loving couple tilde. Auntie, you are so unkind. Chen Beiwang saw Xu Yixue's face turn red, and immediately changed the subject and pretended to complain. At first you said it was an acting gig, and you were going to give us over 10,000 yuan in performance fees, but in the end it became real, and we both got married. What old aunt? That's so ugly. Roma rolled her eyes at Chen Beiwang in annoyance. My name is Zhao Rong. Since you are already Yixue's husband, you can call me Sister Ronger from now on. I am 5 years older than her. Don't be so ungrateful, kid. With Yixue's conditions, you two can get married and be happy. Chen Beiwang laughed when he heard that. That's right, my wife is the best in the world, Sister Rona, you don't know how happy I have been these past few days. Sexual happiness. Zhao Rong showed surprise on her face, and then looked at Xu Yixue with a smile. I didn't expect that, Yixue, you two are quite quick. You think too much. Xu Yixue suddenly felt embarrassed. You two are not talking about the same thing. Sister Rona, I didn't expect you to be so yellow. Chen Beiwang and Zhao Rong seemed to be quite familiar with each other, and he directly extended his hand without any shame. Where's my performance fee? Should I settle it? Stop dreaming, you bastard. Zhao Rong smiled unhappily. I'm afraid your performance will never end in this lifetime, so how can you even talk about performance fees? I have to act this out for the rest of my life. Chen Beiwang pretended to be surprised and disappointed. Don't you want to? Xu Yixue asked softly, her eyes falling on Chen Beiwang with a hint of coldness. How could that be? I will live with my wife till we grow old together. I am not the kind of person who will abandon her after having sex with her. Seeing that the atmosphere was becoming lively, Chen Beiwang immediately invited Zhao Rong to go shopping with him and his wife. She did not refuse, and it was a good opportunity to formally meet Chen Beiwang. No matter how much you know before, it is all based on private investigation, but you can only understand what this person is like after you meet him in person. At the same time, Chen Beiwang was a little curious. He didn't understand how Xu Yixue and Zhao Rong got together. Not to mention that they are best friends despite the 5-year age difference, their looks alone are not on the same level. Isn't it said that women are narrow-minded and don't want to play with people who are prettier than themselves? Xu Yixue looked to be in her early 30s, and Zhao Rong looked to be in her 40s, otherwise Chen Beiwang would not have grouped Zhao Rong together with his mother when he first met her. Zhao Rong is indeed not as old as her mother, but her maintenance seems to be not up to par, so her age is still relatively intuitive. Zhao Rong went shopping with her best friend and dismissed the 2 bodyguards who followed them. The 3 of them went to a high-end Western restaurant for lunch together. Chapter 24 Kiss. There is a little episode worth mentioning. As for Western restaurants, to be honest, Chen Beiwang had only been there a few times in his 25 years of life. The last time he went there was when he accompanied Lin Royue, and it was a non-authentic and affordable Western restaurant. But he had never eaten at such high-end restaurants where the average consumption per person starts at several thousand yuan. Or maybe he is a pure and authentic dragon Chinese at heart, and his taste buds just can't match these overseas things, such as steak salad and pasta, which he just can't get used to. So much so that Xu Yixue and Zhao Rong kept eating during lunch, while Chen Beiwang put down his knife and fork after taking a few bites. After lunch, Zhao Rong prepared to leave. Yixue, I have something else to do at the company. Zhao Rong looked at Xu Yixue and said, also, come to my company tomorrow. We have a project that we need to work on, and my company can't handle it. We have to continue to work together. Xu Yixue nodded, no problem, Roma, I'll go there with the team at 10 a.m. tomorrow. The 2 agreed on a time and place, and Zhao Rong left. Before leaving, she did not forget to say hello to Chen Beiwang with a smile. It was obvious that she was quite satisfied with Chen Beiwang. The 2 continued shopping, and Xu Yixue spoke first. Roma's company is also in real estate. Chen Beiwang was stunned. You are all in the real estate industry, so isn't there a conflict between the 2 industries? Fortunately, real estate is just a large category. If you break it down, there is no conflict and they can even complement each other. Xu Yixue cleared up Chen Beiwang's confusion. Besides, it was Roma who brought me into the industry. Even if there is a conflict in the future, I will take the initiative to withdraw and not cause any impact on her. Chen Beiwang did not express any objection to Xu Yixue's gratitude, although he knew that if there really was an industry conflict, the withdrawal of either party would be a considerable loss. But that was Xu Yixue's company, and he had no right to express his opinion. What's more, Xu Yixue's style of doing things is very much to Chen Beiwang's liking. His usual principle of doing things is to repay a drop of kindness with a spring of gratitude. Otherwise, he could have played with Li Chunxing. It was because Chen Beiwang never forgot the help Li Chunxing had given him over the past 3 years. Let's go, let's find another store to eat something. Xu Yixue seemed to be accustomed to holding Chen Beiwang's hand. The latter was slightly stunned when he heard this, and then tenderness and emotion appeared in his eyes. Obviously, Xu Yixue had noticed that Chen Beiwang didn't seem to like eating when they were having dinner just now, so she suggested having another meal. It's okay, honey. I'll just buy some snacks. We can eat while shopping. Wouldn't that make us feel like a couple? Xu Yixue was a little hesitant. She naturally wanted to take Chen Beiwang to eat something good, but since the latter had a firm attitude, she could only acquiesce. The 2 left the World Trade Mall and came to the nearby food street. Chen Beiwang first bought a bowl of grilled cold noodles. In this late autumn and early winter season, the grilled cold noodles were steaming. Hurry up, honey, take the first bite while it's hot. Chen Beiwang trotted to Xu Yixue, picked up a piece of grilled cold noodles with a skewer, and brought it to Xu Yixue's spout. Xu Yixue was slightly stunned, just like when she was drinking last night. She had never eaten this kind of street snack before, but the fragrant aroma and her trust in Chen Beiwang made her open her mouth. Snacks like grilled cold noodles are available all over the country, especially in the north, so they are very common, but Xu Yixue has never eaten them. When she took the first bite, she couldn't help but exclaimed, "It tastes great." Really? Chen Beiwang laughed. This grilled cold noodle stall is a time-honored brand and it's also the stall he and Li Chunxing often come to eat at. He knows exactly how it tastes. Wife, are you not full either? Seeing Xu Yixue's appearance, Chen Bei couldn't help but ask curiously. Xu Yixue nodded. I usually only eat until I'm 50% full for lunch, because eating too much will drain my energy, which will easily drag out the afternoon and delay my work. We're both taking a break today. We don't have any work to do, so eat without worry. Chen Beiwang directly put the small bowl of grilled cold noodles in Xu Yixue's hand. Eat as much as you want. Even if you get fat, your husband will still want it. You're the one who gets fat. Xu Yixue muttered something, but in her heart she was excited like a little woman. Chen Bei's cheesy love words might sound very cheesy to other people, but to Xu Yixue they sounded like the sound of nature. Also, you don't have to eat it all. Leave some room for me to take you to eat some more snacks. Xu Yixue frowned when she heard this. How can we waste it if we don't eat it all? Even though she is rich, Xu Yixue does not have the habit of wasting food and strives to eat cleanly. Chen Beiwang particularly appreciated this point. In comparison, Lin Royue's habit of throwing away any delicious food after just a few bites was simply idiotic. You eat some and leave the rest to me, Chen Beiwang said with a smile. This way we can be considered to have kissed indirectly. We have been married for several days, but I haven't even kissed you on the mouth. Although she knew that Chen Beiwang was joking, his words made Xu Yixue feel a little embarrassed. She probably felt that she had violated the meaning of the word marriage, so she immediately took out a tissue to wipe her mouth, and then suddenly approached Chen Beiwang before he could react. Boo tilde. A light kiss fell on Chen Beiwang's lips, and the latter was suddenly stunned. Okay, I kissed you. Xu Yixue's face turned red as hell, and she lowered her head, not daring to look at Chen Beiwang. However, Chen Beiwang touched his lips and said with recollection, it doesn't feel as good as last night. What last night? You were drunk last night, and we hugged and kissed for a long time. Silence. Bang. Xu Yixue hit Chen Beiwang with her little pink fist, her face full of shame and embarrassment. This bastard actually lied to me. She was really drunk last night and had no memory of what happened. Does anyone know that I kissed him passionately? Chen Beiwang enjoyed the powerless fist with a silly smile on his face. Wife, kiss me more in the future. The more you kiss, the warmer our relationship will be. Go to hell. Xu Yixue was already thin-skinned, and she couldn't stand still and walked quickly forward. Chen Beiwang followed her shamelessly and held her soft and boneless little hand tightly. Next, Chen Beiwang took Xu Yixue and started a sweep of the entire food street. Everything that Chen Beiwang thought tasted good was ordered. The two chatted and laughed while eating snacks, and the leftovers were given to Chen Beiwang to finish. At first Xu Yixue was a little shy. After all, this action was too ambiguous, but when she thought about the other person's identity being her own man, her unnecessary shyness disappeared. Both of them had a lot of fun. With the presence of Chen Beiwang, a lively guy, Xu Yixue always had a gentle smile on her face. However, the two of them didn't know that not far away from them, several people were looking at this scene in surprise. That's Wangzi. Chapter 25, Unfaithful Man. The joyful day was coming to an end, and Chen Beiwang and Xu Yixue returned home together under the setting sun. But the smile on Xu Yixue's face did not disappear. She seemed to have never been so happy. Even though, what they were doing was just a daily routine of an ordinary couple, but for Xu Yixue, it was better than more than 10,000 days of life. She truly experienced what it meant to be cared for, protected and loved. The same was true for Chen Beiwang. The feeling that Xu Yixue brought him was something that Lin Royue had never given him. It was a comfortable and warm feeling like a spring breeze, which made him find his own paradise. At dusk, the two of them decided at the same time to have dinner at home. They both needed this feeling of warmth. Candles, music, red wine, and dim lights. Chen Beiwang and Xu Yixue prepared a candlelight dinner for each other. The two of them had a heart-to-heart talk once again, like old friends who could talk about anything and confide in each other like they were in a tree hole. Chen Beiwang always looked at Xu Yixue with a gentle smile on his face, and it seemed that even he himself had not realized that this woman, who was 15 years older than him, had gradually walked into his heart. Late at night, the street lights outside went out one by one, and the howling of the cold wind of late autumn could be heard in the quiet villa, but it was warm inside. It's not the temperature that's high, it's the warmth of people's hearts. After dinner, Chen Beiwang didn't have to wash the dishes this time. After all, the dishwasher was not bought for nothing. The two sat on the sofa and chatted for a long time, until late at night. Xu Yixue got up and walked upstairs. Good night, my wife. Chen Beiwang walked to the door of the second bedroom with a grin on his face. However, just as he pushed the door open and was about to go in, he was stopped by Xu Yixue, who had returned. Since you are husband and wife, and newlyweds, why would you sleep in separate rooms? Xu Yixue seemed to have become much bolder, or perhaps the slight drunkenness made her a little bolder. One sentence made Chen Beiwang's face turn from a daze to ecstasy in an instant. Go to bed. Chen Beiwang excitedly pulled the blushing Xu Yixue into their master bedroom, closed the door neatly, and turned off the lights. This night is destined to be sleepless. The next morning, Chen Beiwang walked out of the bedroom refreshed. Inside the half-open door, on the luxurious big bed, a beautiful figure was still lazily lying unwilling to move. Chen Beiwang smiled lightly and went downstairs to prepare breakfast. He knew the woman's shyness, so he didn't rush her. He put breakfast on the table and went out. Wife, remember to have breakfast before going to work. After sending a WeChat message, Chen Beiwang drove the DBS to the company. When Xu Yixue got up and went to the restaurant, when she saw the exquisite and nutritious breakfast on the table, her face revealed the happiness of a little woman. Last night, she started a new life and also broke free from the shackles that had held her for 40 years. I felt shy at first, but looking back I was filled with love. After a delicious breakfast, Xu Yixue changed her clothes, packed up and went to her real estate company. When she came to the company as usual, she was still faced with respect from her employees. She went to her office and called her trusted secretary, a female career elite in her 30s named Liu Ku. Liu Ku has been following Xu Yixue since graduation, which is nearly 10 years now. He is not only Xu Yixue's absolute confidant, but also has a relationship similar to that of a friend. Liu Ku walked into the office with documents in his arms, and was slightly stunned at the first glance. What's wrong? Seeing Liu Ku standing there in a daze, Xu Yixue couldn't help but ask. Mr. Xu, why do I feel like you've changed so much today? Really? What specific changes have taken place? Xu Yixue asked back nonchalantly before she could react. You are more beautiful than before, and your complexion is much rosier. Liu Ku's serious words made Xu Yixue's face turn red instantly. Liu Ku is not an old maid like Xu Yixue. She has been married for a long time. Seeing Xu Yixue's expression, she immediately understood and gave a slightly teasing smile. Boss Xu, I heard from people down there that you're married? It looks like you're newlywed, right? As a partner for many years, she was naturally well aware that Xu Yixue had never been married and was a virgin. These words are naturally meant as a joke, saying that Xu Yixue has completely evolved into a real woman. You are the only one with ears and a mouth. Xu Yixue glared at Liu Ku in embarrassment and anger, and the latter laughed even louder. Okay, if you laugh again, I'll deduct your salary. Seeing that Xu Yixue was a little embarrassed, Liu Ku stopped smiling and quickly changed the subject to business. Is the financial lawyer ready? Liu Ku nodded. Okay, tell everyone to get ready, and we'll go to Kaiyuan Real Estate. Xu Yixue thought that her happy face was over, but she never expected that when she came to Kaiyuan Real Estate and met Zhao Rong, she would be teased again. Moreover, compared to Liu Ku, Zhao Rong is obviously more unscrupulous. She took Xu Yixue and walked into her office alone, then asked hurriedly, Yixue, did you sleep with that kid Beiwang? Oh, Roma, why are you speaking so rudely? Xu Yixue was embarrassed, but Zhao Rong didn't care. What's rude or not between us sisters? I didn't expect you to be defeated by that guy so quickly. I thought you planned to test him for a while longer. When mentioning Chen Beiwang, Xu Yixue's beautiful eyes were filled with affectionate love. He's fine. That's good. Roma. Xu Yixue's face turned red, which made Zhao Rong laugh. I'm talking about his character. Who's talking to you about that? I understand. I understand. Are you still going to work on the project? If not, I'm leaving. Xu Yixue was in high spirits, but Chen Beiwang was in a miserable situation. When he arrived at the company in the morning, he noticed that there was something wrong with the way his colleagues looked at him. And they seemed to be whispering something behind their backs. It was not until he met Li Chunxing that Chen Beiwang knew the reason. What? People say I'm an unfaithful man. Chen Beiwang widened his eyes. He was a little confused. He just didn't come to work for one day, so how could he be considered a heartless man? Who did he let down? Lin Royue? Could this woman be up to something weird again? Chen Beiwang subconsciously looked at Lin Royue, who was not far away, only to see the latter sitting at her workstation with a lonely expression and a hint of unwillingness. It doesn't seem to be her. Big head, what's going on? Chen Beiwang frowned and looked at Li Chunxing and asked in a low voice. Although he didn't care what others thought of him, he didn't want to be ruined and lose his popularity for no reason. I don't know either. Li Chunxing looked helpless. Everyone knows that we have a good relationship. You kept everything from me. I just heard some rumors, saying that you were sorry for Yeye. Sorry, Lin Royue? Chen Beiwang glared and said, fuck you, you let slip that I got married. Chapter 26 Vice President. It's no wonder Chen Beiwang thought this way. The whole company knew that Lin Royue was his girlfriend 8 years ago, and only Li Chunxing knew that he was married. To say that he is an unfaithful man obviously means that they know that he has a wife. Who else can Chen Beiwang blame if he doesn't blame Li Chunxing? Fuck. Li Chunxing cried out that he was wronged. You don't know my character. Your mouth is harder than steel. How could I possibly let you know? Seeing that Li Chunxing was about to get angry, Chen Beiwang realized that it really had nothing to do with Ren Da Tu. But what exactly is going on? That bastard Yu Jiawei? That's not right. Yu Jiawei couldn't possibly know that he was married. After unsuccessful thinking, Chen Beiwang was in a headache, so he had to set his target on a few female colleagues with whom he usually got along well. Sister Lin, Sister Hua, tell me, how did I become such a heartless person? Wangzi, tell me the truth, do you have a new love now? Sister Lin stared at Chen Beiwang seriously and questioned him, with a hint of jealousy in her tone. Chen Beiwang didn't answer, but just stood there in a daze. Do you know that yesterday, my sisters and I went to the food court for lunch and saw you and your new girlfriend? Sister Hua took over the conversation, and her words instantly made Chen Beiwang suddenly realize. So this is where the problem lies. But he felt a little unhappy. Shankar Trading Company, Limited is a 20-minute drive from the food street, and there is a total of half an hour break at noon. Why do these women have nothing better to do than go to the food street? But now that things have come to this, there is no point in him complaining. After all, the whole company probably knows that he has a new love. That's how people are. When a woman cheats on a man, everyone will feel sorry for him and comfort him to move on. But when a man betrays a woman, he will definitely be boycotted and condemned by the whole group, as if he had done something unforgivable. In people's subconscious, women are ultimately a vulnerable group. But this made Chen Beiwang suffer. How can this be called a new love? That is my legal wife. My dear wife. But can he explain it? Cannot. He still adhered to his own life creed and didn't want these guys who were just colleagues to know that his life had undergone tremendous changes. And it's a change in an excellent direction. As for slander and misunderstanding, let them be. Chen Beiwang gave up all thoughts of explanation and just nodded in agreement to Sister Lin and Sister Hua, indirectly acknowledging his new love. This obviously made these sisters very unhappy. Originally, without the support of Lin Royue, they all thought that their chances had increased a little, but they never expected that their home would be robbed in just a few days. Chen Beiwang is very popular among his colleagues in the company, thanks to his good looks, emotional intelligence, and his outstanding personal abilities. Besides, women are always gossipy. If a few people know about this, doesn't it mean that the whole company knows about it? Chen Beiwang did not expect that during this period of time he would become the focus of the entire company, and all kinds of strange things would happen to him one after another. If he had not done a lot of business with Li Chunxing in the past, it is possible that the management would have really fired him now. Chen Beiwang's worries were not without reason. Just when he was frowning and thinking that his reputation in the company was ruined, the company's vice president arrived. A thin man in a suit, whose height was barely 1.7 meters because of his shoes, appeared in the staff area. Minute Nan Hua, a native southerner, is also the deputy general manager of Shankar Trading Company, Limited, and has the power of life and death over all employees of the company. He is a real powerful figure. If the boss and shareholders do not express their opinions, then his words are destiny. This old guy is in his 40s. Although he is small, he is full of imposingness. He is always serious and always has a sullen face, so he got the nickname, Minute Black Face. The most important point is that he and Chen Beiwang don't get along well. Because Minute Nan Hua was lustful, he always used his position to intimidate senior officials and flirt with female colleagues in the company. As a result, 7 or 8 women were bullied by him. The feud between Chen Beiwang and him was caused by one of her female colleagues who had already resigned. At that time, Chen Beiwang went to Minute Nanhua's office to find him to sign a contract, and happened to see this old guy using his power to force the female colleague to go to a hotel with him after work to sleep. Chen Beiwang had just been in the company for a year at that time and had not yet fully recovered from the world of righteousness. How could he, with his strong sense of justice, tolerate this? When he saw Minute Nanhua reaching out to touch the female colleague's butt, he couldn't bear it anymore and rushed in and punched her. Afterwards, the company's top management held a trial meeting on the matter. Fortunately, the female colleague was a strong person and stood up to testify to Minute Nanhua's lustful and threatening behavior and tried her best to protect Chen Beiwang. In addition, Li Chunxing said all the good words he could and Chen Beiwang apologized himself, and the matter was finally over. The company gave the female colleague a compensation and let her leave the company. Chen Beiwang was not punished but received a serious warning. As for Minute Hua, the company's top management clearly stated that it would be punished, but 2 years have passed and there has been no movement. Chen Beiwang knew that the best that the shareholders' meeting could do was to reprimand Minute Nanhua, and there would be no substantial punishment. But he did not feel sorry. At least the female colleague escaped the clutches of the avildor and received compensation, and he did not lose anything. But it was that time that Chen Beiwang and Minute Nanhua officially became enemies. Why has Yu Jiaowei been able to thrive in the past 3 years? It's not because of his cousin who works in HR, but because of Minute Hua. To be precise, Yu Jiaowei's golden ticket to immunity from death is Minute He Lian. It is because of his instigation behind the scenes that Yu Jiaowei has been able to take the initiative to cause trouble again and again. The influence that a vice president of a listed company can exert within the company is enormous. Seeing Minute Nanhua appearing calmly, all the colleagues lowered their heads and pretended to be busy, not even daring to breathe. Yu Jiaowei's face was full of excitement. He knew that Minute Nanhua must have come to find Chen Beiwang, which made him say in his heart that Chen Beiwang's good days were over. Because he heard from others that Chen Beiwang's new girlfriend was extremely beautiful, gentle and generous. This made him extremely unhappy. Why do all the good-looking women surround you, Chen Beiwang? There is Lin Royue in front and a new girlfriend behind. Judging from the rumors that Chen Beiwang has caused recently within the company is obviously afraid that things will escalate, so they will definitely intervene. And now, Minute Hua has come forward. Minute Nanhua glanced at the whole room, and when he saw that no one dared to look him in the eye, he nodded with satisfaction, and then a somewhat arrogant voice slowly sounded. Chen Beiwang, come with me to the office. Chapter 27 The Insidious Minute Hua. After saying this, Minute Nanhua left without looking back. Chen Beiwang frowned. He didn't expect the management to come so quickly. It seemed that he had really caused an impact on the company during this period of time. Li Chunhua looked nervous. Beiwang, nothing will happen, right? But he understood that Minute Nanhua had been looking for an opportunity to deal with Chen Beiwang. However, Chen Beiwang smiled easily and consoled her, don't worry, I'll be back soon. After saying that, he stood up and followed Minute Nanhua into the depths of the company. His movement also made all his colleagues look up. Lin Royue's eyes were mixed with 3 parts of sadness, 3 parts of unwillingness, and 4 parts of madness. Chen Beiwang, you shouldn't treat me like this. As soon as you get out of the elevator on the 18th floor and enter the Shankar Trading Company, Limited, you will find the employee lobby. Walking through the corridor inside is an important area of the company, which is off limits to outsiders. The HR department is at the gate, and further inside are the offices of the heads of various departments. As the company's vice president, Minute Nanhua's office is at the end of the corridor, which is also the deepest part of the company. As for the bosses and shareholders, they work on the 19th floor, where there is also a large group meeting room. This also reflects that Minute Hua really has the power of life and death over all employees of the company. Arriving at Minute Haimian's office, Chen Beiwang still had his signature gentle smile on his face. Boss Minute. Xiao Chen, please sit down. Minute Nanhua also smiled faintly, motioned Chen Beiwang to sit on the sofa, and then began to boil water and make tea. I wonder what Mr. Minute wants to talk to me about. Chen Beiwang remained friendly and polite, with obvious respect. He is no longer the young and reckless man he used to be. Although the two of them don't get along, he can't blatantly deny face to a vice president. If that's the case, he'll definitely be fired. Although Chen Beiwang really doesn't need this job now, relying on his wife for help is obviously not something Chen Beiwang can accept. Even if there are grudges among you, you still have to be happy. Xiao Chen, you have been in our company for 3 years, right? Minute Nanhua looked at Chen Beiwang with a puzzled look, then chuckled and asked. Chen Beiwang nodded and waited for Minute Nanhua's next words. I've watched you grow up in these 3 years. Minute Nanhua began his earnest teaching in the tone of an elder. When you were young and hot-tempered, you beat me up. As he said this, Minute Nanhua poured tea for Chen Beiwang, but the latter felt a chill in his heart. This old guy brought this up now, clearly telling me that he still remembers this grudge, and it also seems to be a threat to me. But that's all in the past. Look at you now. You give me the feeling that you have been drained of all your charm. In the past 3 years, you have generated so much revenue for our company and completed so many orders. Those old employees who have been working for 7 or 8 years can't compare with you. Chen Beiwang narrowed his eyes slightly. He was a little confused about Minute Nanhua. This old guy first threatened and then praised. What exactly does he want to do? Finally, after Minute Nanhua had been praising him for several minutes, he changed the subject and got to the point. Xiao Chen, you've heard about the recent rumors in the company, right? Chen Beiwang nodded, but smiled inwardly. It was indeed because of this. Look, first you were cheated on by your girlfriend, and everyone in the company group knew about it. Then your ex came to work in our company, and now he is less than 10 meters away from your workplace. Minute Nanhua spoke word by word with great earnestness. Now there are rumors that you just broke up a few days ago and have a new lover outside. It means that your predecessor, Lin Royue, had a broad perspective and didn't cause trouble in the company. Otherwise, if the news got out, how would our company be able to survive in the Parknian building? There wasn't much of a reprimand in Minute Nanhua's words. Instead, it felt like he was accusing Chen Beiwang, which made him sneer inwardly. Looking at Minute Nanhua's posture, it seems that he wants to win without fighting. He wants to use public pressure to force himself to resign. Chen Beiwang was not a rookie, and he was naturally sharp-minded. He saw through Minute Nanhua's true intentions at a glance. No wonder the old guy first warned and threatened me verbally, and then played the emotional card. It turned out that he wanted me to leave on my own initiative with guilt. Moreover, Chen Beiwang also sniffed out another piece of information from Minute Nanhua's words. He defended Lin Royue. At first glance, or people with slow minds might not feel anything, but based on Chen Beiwang's understanding of Lin Royue, he felt that the matter might not be simple. One is greedy for money, the other is lustful. Lin Ru came to Uecker Trading Company, limited to get back together with him, but what if she knew that he had a new love? Will she wait for an opportunity to take revenge and then quickly look for a new target? Meeting. Chen Beiwang knew Lin Royue too well. This woman was very ambitious, although her ambition only revolved around money and interests. But it is precisely because of this that her thoughts are more easily exposed. Chen Beiwang's intuition told him that Lin Royue might have already boarded Minanhua's ship. As for when they met, Chen Beiwang was not interested. He just needed to guess the truth. Mr. Minute, what do you mean? Chen Beiwang still had a smile on his face, but there was a hint of coldness in his eyes. Xiao Chen, don't blame me for not helping you. It's just that what happened to you recently has had such a huge impact on me. Minute Nanhua pretended to do his best and said, the big boss and the shareholders have even held a meeting to deal with you. Everyone is quite dissatisfied with you. As he spoke, Minute Nanhua took out 2 contracts from the drawer. Here is a termination contract and a compensation contract. If you sign, the company will give you 6 times your monthly salary as compensation, along with a humanitarian aid package. You should understand that you are the one who caused all the public opinion. As long as you leave the company, the public opinion will naturally fall apart. Chen Beiwang did not respond in a hurry. He just looked at the 2 contracts in front of him calmly, and the last glimmer of hope in his heart was shattered. Boss Minute, I overestimated your vision. Just when Minute Nanhua thought that he would sign it 100%, Chen Beiwang's words made him frown. What's the meaning? I did beat you up 2 years ago, but I didn't expect you to hold such a grudge. Chen Beiwang smiled and shook his head, but his smile was full of ridicule. As long as I sign, it will be considered a voluntary resignation. Not only will the company not compensate me, but they can even ask me for compensation in the name of the labor contract because my resignation has not been approved by the Human Resources Department. Am I right? Minute Nanhua's face changed, and without waiting for him to explain, Chen Beiwang stood up swiftly. But as long as I don't take the initiative to resign, you won't be able to drive me away given my contributions to the company over the years. Mr. Minute, we still have a long way to go. I will play with you slowly.